received. I've tasted what it means. Now nothing else is good enough for me. You're all I need. You're all I need. You're all I need. You're all I need. Oh, I need you. Yeah, I need you. Oh, I need you now. Now I owe it all to you, giving my heart to you, freedom becoming true. Nobody else like you, do what you promised to, and I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for your love. I'm so grateful, grateful, grateful. I'm so grateful. I need you in my life. Grateful, grateful,
Hey, what's up, everybody? We are grateful to be here. It's a Tuesday evening. We're live in the Lion's Den. I got the fellas with me. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff going on right now. They done found 1,000 bottles of baby oil in that man's house. And we also got a third reported attempt on President Trump. This is a little bit more complex. And also, you know, the Kamala situation is just ramping up. We got government officials talking about if Trump gets elected, there could be a mass casualty event. I don't know if you guys heard about this. We're going to talk about all this stuff. A lot to talk about. We're glad you guys are here. Make sure you hit that like button, share the video. You're watching Young Lion TV. Let's get into it.
young lion, everywhere I look, they dying. Everywhere I look, they dying. Young lion, everywhere I look, they dying. Everywhere I look, they dying. Young lion, won't you get up and start fighting? Everywhere I look, they're hiding. Young lion.
That's right. That sound means you are tuned in to Young Lion TV. This is the Young Lion TV podcast, and we are Jatan, aka the Young Lions, coming to you live every Tuesday night like we do. And we're happy to be here, man. Shout out to Courtney. She said, hello, family. Happy Tuesday. We love you, sis. Thank you for checking in. Make sure you guys, if you're here, like the video, share the video, let the friends know that we are live, because the algorithm does not support what we do, what we talk about. You know, we keep this podcast strictly about our learning in life through our trials and tribulations and our journey through the music business and traveling around the world and things that we've experienced, the mistakes that we've made as young men. And now we're older men, fathers, husbands, and see the importance of community and our faith in Jesus and how that affects the younger generation. So what we do is we talk about those things on here, hash those things out, and try to give some information and hopefully help people not stumble where we stumbled in our past. So if that's something that you can get behind, again, make sure you like the video and share it with your friends. Also, if you want to support, head on over to Young Lion Patreon, which is patreon.com/Young Lion TV, where you can become a member. Sign up over there for as little as $3 a month. So simple. $3 a month. Like, you spend more than that on, you know, a pack of gum these days. So you can support that way and, you know, just help the cause, help us grow this thing so we can continue to build what we do over here. Also, if you want to get some merch, that is over at our merch store. And it's at our band's website, which is jatan.com/shop, where you can get all the Jatan merch and Young Lion merch. Both brands are there available for you. But without further ado, let's get into it. I got the coolest Asian rocking the Grateful shirt over there. He's looking fly in the merch. You can get yours. Got the Grateful hat and the Grateful shirt and the Young Lion mug. Doing it all right now. But he is Mr. Chang Samoon in the building.
What up?
Everybody.
I don't know if I'm down with this matcha in the coffee though.
You're not a fan?
No,
I like it. I like it.
I like matcha, but I don't know.
I've been putting
tried
matcha
it.
in my coffee, and I like it. And of course, he's my big brother, rocking the Unity shirt, but he's everybody's big brother.
I was going to say, he's my big brother too.
Exactly. He's your big brother. He's my big brother. He's everybody's big brother. The preacher, the teacher, the people reacher, Mr. Jacob Eugene Evans III in the building.
What's up?
And I am, of course, every light-skinned guy with a beard, a.k.a. / white guy with a beard that you know may be a part of your family. Even this weekend, some guy was like, wasn't you at a show a couple weeks ago? I swear I saw you at a... Nah, that wasn't me, bro. That was another guy with a beard. But yeah, I am that guy. I'm the navigator of these streaming waters that we do every Tuesday night. Jamie Evans over here. And of course, last but not least, we have the best producer, the only producer that matters. She is our lovely mother, the best boomer in the world, Miss Angelique Lopez.
She makes that face, but last week you were like, you didn't introduce me.
Yeah. Shout out to Papa Jeff in the chat, Lion King
What's
level
up, Pop?
Patreon member and avid supporter. Also a father figure. We love him. Papa Jeff in the chat. Make sure you guys share the video. I see we got somebody on YouTube and Angel Hall. Shout out.
Shout out to Papa Jeff because he's been doing real good on his weight loss journey, man. He's doing real good.
That's what's up. He's been on. Everyone's being motivated. John's been losing a bunch of weight. Everybody. Papa Jeff losing weight. Alyssa's been in the gym.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, so just everybody's getting motivated. You know what I mean? So that's what's up. Yeah, so we just came back from Atlanta. Just had a little trip.
It was so hot.
It was really hot.
Right?
Yeah, it was.
I found myself just staying under that tree. That tree was actually really really comforting.
I gotta talk about that. So we're standing under that tree.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I looked to the right, and it was an outdoor like festival type thing, right? So they had
Seafood fest.
they had a booths, like little kiosk booths, and this booth had like all Kamala shirts with the dumbest sayings. But the one that stuck out to me was like
Joy.
It's like Kinfolk.
Kinfolk.
A nice picture of her smiling, and at the bottom it said Kinfolk.
I was telling Moon, I want to go over there and just. Sometimes I just want to have conversations with people like, so what's the reason why?
What makes her kinfolk?
Yeah, because it's just like it's not logical.
And why is that even something to care about? Why you
exactly?
Yeah, because she's part black. But what's her name? Candace.
I was just gonna say that.
Did you watch that?
Yo, Candace has been deep diving on some stuff. She got some researchers on her team, bro. Like they went and found marriage certificates, birth certificates, death certificates. Like they are digging into like her family lineage. Yeah, Kamala. Yeah. Because and that all stemmed from the Janet Jackson story. Did you guys hear about that?
No,
Janet Jackson was doing I was gonna get into that. Well, we're talking about it now, so I'll just bring it up.
Yeah.
Let me see if I don't even know where I put it.
Yeah, I only saw the short one that she put on Instagram. I didn't watch the you know how she like shortens it.
Yeah.
But I saw the part where she was like she talked about the picture. She wrote a book. Kamala wrote a book saying,
and this is so apparently her whole link to why people think she's black is from her father's side, of course. But her father only claims to be Jamaican descent. He's never come out and said, I'm black. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So people argue, like, can we verify that she's actually black through her father's side? Yeah. Because some people argue that he is, well, we know he descends from Irish slave owners, but he also is supposedly part black, but he could be part Indian. People always dispute that point. You know, So she wanted to prove, because in Kamala's book, there's a picture of her with an older black lady that she claims is her grandma in the book. And that's where like...
Bell... what's the name?
I can't remember.
Yeah, but the name didn't link
Yeah.
to who the person was, because the year that she was born, that person would have been dead already.
Yeah.
That's
like she pulled
like
up
4 years.
death certificates. She pulled up Kamala's birth certificate, her parents' birth certificate. So she realized, she saw through the research that photo in that book couldn't be real, because her actual like grandma that's listed on the birth certificate of her mother died 6 years before Kamala was born.
Yeah. And not only that person should have been, because she was dark, right?
Yeah.
That person, she was saying that at the most would have been mixed somehow.
Right.
The way
because their lineage is not from, like, they're not African. They're like mixed.
Yeah.
And the picture is of a darker skinned woman. And she started alluding to the fact that because they owned a bunch of slaves and they were a well-off family, like there's a whole town named after them in Jamaica. So she was saying this could be the help or somebody that helped raise her that she's took a photo with, and then went back to visit when she went to Jamaica. Because there's a photo of her, well, they claim it's her sitting on the lap of this woman as a young child.
Yeah.
So, it's a weird story, because the woman in the photo doesn't match. It can't be the woman that died before she was born, who is actually her grandmother. So it has to be somebody else. But who that is,
and nobody did any research.
Yeah.
It's sad that you gotta even go to these lengths. Like, the people lie so much.
Yeah.
Especially.
And politicians always have these weird, shady pasts that like they try to cover up, or they put, like, why is it that you only have one photo?
Yeah.
Why
like
is
the
it
Macron stuff, the French?
Yeah. All that stuff.
Macron's wife?
Yeah, that stuff is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very, very interesting. Did you see when she interviewed the journalist that actually did all the research in France?
No.
Because this is not like a YouTube rabbit hole. Like, there was actual journalists that researched this for 3 years and did a deep dive, like, into their whole past, Bridget McConnell's past, looked up the family, everything. And then they are being persecuted by the government. One of the other people involved with the thing they're litigating them, but not for defamation. It was like for some technicality on something else to try to silence them. It's a whole weird story. But anyway, that all stemmed because over the last few days, there was this Guardian article that they did on Janet Jackson. And the reporter, hold on, let me show you a picture of the reporter. This is the reporter here, this woman. Looks like an Indian woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she's interviewing Janet Jackson about, her life, music, all that boring stuff. But of course, and Janet Jackson, I'm going to get down to the part because this is a long article, but I'll get down to so Janet Jackson starts talking to her about real stuff. Like, she's asking her about the music industry, and here goes Janet Jackson talking. Well, there's all this child trafficking crap that's going on, and sex trafficking crap. You know what I mean? That wasn't so prevalent then. She's talking about her brother and like his allegations and all of that. She said it's a strange about turn, not least because of many allegations of child sexual abuse made against Michael, but it's also the most forceful she has been since we sat down. So that's the journalist saying, like, why is she getting all hyped up about child sex trafficking? Like, she's trying to make her seem like a weirdo for bringing that up.
That's weird.
Isn't it always weird how, like, you see journalists always trying to shout down that narrative?
Yeah.
They don't want to talk about it. So she's bringing up child sex trafficking, and you're painting her as a weirdo. She says it's a strange about turn, not least because of the many allegations of child sex abuse made against Michael, but also the most forceful she's been since we sat down. At least we didn't know about it back then. I don't think we did we? Not really. I think it's really now out in the open because it's like $1 billion business and all that crap. And then here's what the journalist says. I wonder what internet rabbit hole she's been going down. But before I can ask, she moved on. So you're already like
painting her
to be some conspiracy theorist. So she said on the record she sang about so here we go. Pushing toward a world rid of color lines. I wonder where she stands on the forthcoming election. After all, I say America could be on the verge of voting in its first black female president, Kamala Harris. Janet Jackson says, well, you know what they say, supposedly. And then she said, she's not black. That's what I heard, that she's Indian. That's what Janet said. So she said, she looks at me expectantly, perhaps assuming that I have Indian heritage. I assume that too by looking at you. She said, well, she's both. I offer. That's what she replies to Janet. Her father's white. That's what I was told. That's what Janet said. I mean, I haven't watched the news in a few days, she coughs. I was told that they discovered her father was white. And then the journalist says, I'm floored at this point. It's well known that Harris's father is a Jamaican economist. What does Jamaican mean?
I've seen the whitest Jamaican. That actually the meme that got popular
was that Jamaican
white dude rapping, right?
Yeah. Like you even her saying that, it's a well-known fact that her father is a Jamaican economist at a Stanford professor who split from her Indian mother when she was 5. There's nothing in that sentence that shows proof that he's black.
Yeah.
Just that he's from an island. Yeah. And then my mother understood very well that she was raising 2 black daughters, Harris wrote in her book. Her mother understood that. Okay. So then she goes on to try to keep correcting her, but Janet wasn't having it. So this like led to this whole cancel Janet Jackson thing on the internet.
What?
Black women are going crazy on her. They're done with her. They were talking about it on the Breakfast Club. Should she be donkey of the day? They were like debating it with the audience. People were calling in. Some people saying no. Some people saying yes. But that's what sparked Candace to actually do that research, was the way they're treating Janet Jackson over this. And she was saying that like she's looking back on the way they treated Michael in the press when he started speaking out against certain things. Like you notice when Michael started, first of all, getting all this power in Sony, owning most of the catalogs, when he started buying up catalogs and when he started getting all this power and he started talking out about Tommy Mottola and all these people in the industry, what they started doing, the press started painting him as Wacko Jacko. All of these articles started coming out of this weird behavior, Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? Yeah. Even though he clearly had weird behavior, but they loved him before that.
Yeah.
It's the same playbook. It's like as soon as we want to shut you up, and then all of a sudden, allegations.
Yeah,
you know?
I saw some videos on that.
Yeah.
And there's a link actually between the, I don't know if we mentioned this, but the security dude was the Diddlers.
That is a huge...
The Diddlers security, head of security
the dude, Ian Carroll, that we played, the TikToker, he's the one that actually exposed that. That the guy that was first on the scene was the head of security for Michael Jackson. 21 years old. Went to college for business management, was a real estate investor. But he's the head of security for Michael Jackson. And he's also the fixer for Diddy's organization. He's the guy that would, if anything went wrong or if they needed to clean something up, they called him. And he dealt directly with the police. What are the chances of that?
It's weird.
So somebody posted this video of the comparison between Kamala and Trump towards the Jacksons.
Could mean life in prison. And cases like this can depend on the testimony of the child accuser.
In general, the child will be able to recall and recollect with some detail the incident, and that is persuasive to a jury, even if it is the only testimony that is available.
Jackson gave a wave when he was released after booking. He's scheduled for arraignment in January.
Michael's been a long time.
That was Kamala weighing in on his case.
I'm resident of Trump Tower, and last night the Donald strongly reiterated his defense of Jackson with Larry King by going after the accuser's mother.
She's had plenty of experience at going after people, and she goes after them viciously and violently, and I saw a story and I read another story about some of the things she's done, and I don't believe it.
But you know what it's like when an indictment comes down.
It's tough.
It's presumption.
It's tough. It's tough to win, but I have a feeling he's going to win, Larry. The interesting thing is I've known Michael from many different standpoints, and Michael would spend a lot of time with my kids. I have beautiful kids, and at the time, like at Mar-a-Lago, and even in Trump Tower, the kids were very young. Michael would come, play with the kids. He just loved children. He was not a child molester, and I am certain of that. He loved children. He'd play with my son Eric and my son Donald, and he'd just play with them forever. He loved children, but he was not a child molester. And, you know, that whole final saga of Neverland and the police and what they did was, I think, a very, very bad part of Michael's life.
Interesting.
What do they do, man? They accuse you of the things that they're doing.
Right.
You know, and frame them a certain way.
Yeah, and how hard is it we know now, how hard is it for them to, you know, get in the ear of one of these mothers that he was helping out clearly.
Yeah.
And turn them against him, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they control like the media, man. Like the most of the media is all, I mean, at least back then they would write all the tabloids. You were talking about Wacko Jacko.
Yeah.
You know,
they coined that frame. What do we talk about language, right? They coined that frame.
Paint them a certain way to the public.
Yeah, there's clips on you know how people do those compilation clips of all the news stations and like the late night TV that happened to him. They were all talking about him, calling him Wacko Jacko over and over and over again. And that was, why did they do that? It was a spell to put over people, to frame him as this evil guy, you know. And it's interesting that Trump didn't believe it.
Yeah.
You know, he had experience with him. But I thought he was a racist because, you know, Michael Jackson is black. I thought he would have jumped at the chance to put that Negro in jail. But speaking of the music business and speaking of, you know, cases and indictments, we got to touch on the Diddy thing, the diddler. Did you guys hear that this is like the same playbook as Epstein? So we're finding out that he's pretty much, we said it before, but it's been confirmed now. He's the Black Epstein. It was alleged before. And now he was denied bail like Epstein and then put on suicide watch like Epstein. Sounds familiar.
Isn't he in the same prison?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
And now there's other people coming out with allegations. He's been sued by a victim who says he and a bodyguard vicious raped her at a NYC recording studio in 2001. But yeah, one of the craziest parts was that 1,000 bottles of baby oil everybody was talking about. Like, and what was it like? It was like 700 dildos. Like, yeah, it was crazy. But
what are you doing?
But
I've been seeing lots of videos of him, like just in public, dude, like on Ellen,
being weird.
He tells on himself.
Yeah, because he felt untouchable, I think.
Yeah.
I think when you're like connected and you know that you can get away with things, that's why, I mean, when you look back at like Ye saying that he's a Fed, it kind of makes more sense because it's like, if you know that he's working as an asset, he feels untouchable. But that's the problem. Is like they always gonna cash that check in someday. Someday they're gonna cash it in. If they need to sacrifice you to save other higher ups, they're gonna cash it in. But I was messing around with AI. You know how people have been making them AI songs?
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, let me see if I can do some AI production. Yo, this thing came out. You don't got to pull it up, Mom. I'm just going to play it. This thing came out so hilarious, yo. I did a 1996 bad boy style production of a song called 1,000 Bottles of Baby Oil.
Nah.
Yeah, I did. And look how it came out. Wait, ready?
Yo, we rolling up in style, bad boy for a night. Got 1,000 bottles, yeah, everything's tight. Ain't no need to hurry, we got time, don't you worry. Line up on the table, baby, oil looking glam. Line up on the table, baby, auction plan. Party in the crib, Diddy vibes all around. Music pumping, everybody feeling that. 1,000 bottles, feeling fine. Let it shine bright, let your body unwind.
So stupid.
Yo, you can see the music video,
Yeah,
bro.
you can.
Summertime sun, cruising in. The party's alive. All the homies chillin', making memories tonight. We got candles burning, setting the mood just right. Liquid smooth, silky, make it last all night. When the beat drops, gotta feel that vibe. Bad boy style, let it all come alive.
Okay. Yo, how did the AI do the bad riffs?
Let your body unwind. Party like the 90s. Living it right. Baby, you're glistening in the moonlight. Feel the heat rise, let the rhythm control.
This is so bad.
This kind of party got a feel in the soul. 1,000 bottles shining, let's
You gonna play the whole thing?
It's only 2 minutes long.
1,000 bottles
Courtney said, I can't stand you, Jamie.
Come on, boy. You can hear the Biggie verse coming. Yo, that thing, I was cracking up when it spit that out, bro. Because it was like, even the beat was right
Yep.
on point. The production, like, the vocals were a little bit bad, but it was still in the vein of
Bad
what
Boy
it would have
was
been.
a lot of bad vocals.
But it was like that one riff, bro, threw me when I heard that. Like, I was like, yo, how
That sound like
AI
a
do
real
it?
bad ad lib.
Yeah. Like, how are they doing this? Yo, that was funny. Yeah, so that's the theme
I
song.
can't believe you did that.
That's the theme song. 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Yeah. Anyway, so let's move on to Kamala on Oprah. So
I never watched the entirety
As soon
of.
as I saw it, I turned it off. I was like, no, I'm not gonna watch it.
yeah,
But
it
I did see clips of Oprah like, what are you talking? It seemed like she's like, what are you saying?
yeah, there was a lot of moments of word salads. Here's an example of one right here.
We love our country. I love our country. I know we all do. That's why everybody's here right now. We love our country. We take pride in the privilege of being American. And this is a moment where we can and must come together as Americans, understanding we have so much more in common than what separates us. Let's come together with the character that we are so proud of about who we are, which is we are an optimistic people. We are an optimistic people. Americans, by character, are people who have dreams and ambitions and aspirations. We believe in what is possible. We believe in what can be.
That's when
And
she almost hit
we
it. She
believe
almost hit it.
fighting for that.
By what is
That's how we came into being. because the people before us understood.
And I think like the person asked like, how are you going to lower prices? And this was her answer. This was her answer, bro. This was her.
I think I was talking to you on the flight back home.
Yeah.
Gutfield actually did a thing where he played her answers.
He played that and he asked what
and
question.
asked, what do you think her question,
Right.
the question that she's answering? And it was
Yeah.
like nothing to what she said.
Also, people were pointing out how like these images of people supposedly watching on Zoom were fake. Like there was a lot of doubled up images, and also a lot of they believe AI images. But you could see obviously some of these people are repeated. But yeah, that was only half of that answer. She goes on for another minute there, and then it's funny because even Oprah had to cut her off.
Gets to the point about what does leadership really look like? And is it about you or is it about the people? Right. Is it about running on problems or fixing problems? My work and my career has always been about saying, let's fix problems. Let's address the needs because we know it's within our capacity.
Like Oprah's trying to wrangle her.
So to answer Justin's question, now that that bill has gone and hasn't passed, will you reintroduce that?
Absolutely. And when I am elected president of the United States, I will make sure that bill gets to my desk and I will sign it in.
Because he was asking her about the border. And she went on this whole thing again. And Oprah was like, so just to answer his question, like she had to help her
First
out.
off, that border bill was one of the worst things. It had nothing to do with the border.
We talked about it on here at length when they dropped it.
Yeah.
It was going to solidify people coming across the border. It was allowing up to 5,000 people per day before they could act to come across the border. Like that was crazy. And they asked her. There was another clip. I had it, but I don't have it now. Where she said something about being a gun owner, and then she said, "If you come in my house, you're gonna get shot." Did you see that?
Yep. Well, and then maybe I shouldn't have said that.
And then her staff came out and made a statement, said that she didn't mean that. She was,
Yeah. Going back though to what she said.
Yeah.
Earlier, like it's so bad. Like we gotta understand that she has no clue how to make things make sense. She's just saying a whole bunch of fluff.
Yeah.
But in words that sound good together, but there's no substance. There's
and even those
no
words,
substance.
She's reaching into her bank of approved statements from her staff.
Yeah, that
she
put
just
together
she
over
tries
the
to just
years.
grab them and put them together.
Yeah,
like
what could
be?
But
She didn't go to unburden because she know that would have been. But she would have been called out for that. But she did go to the what can be
dreams and opportunities.
Yeah,
and trying to sound really hopeful.
We are an optimistic people.
Yeah,
she's very emotional.
Well,
I think she
doing.
pretends to be emotional.
No, but that's what she's trying to portray to the people.
Yeah. That's why you go on with Oprah. That's why you don't do real interviews with real journalists. You lean on these Hollywood celebrities that are gonna, make you warm and cozy. That's all she's been doing.
Gonna help you. She's literally like Oprah was helping her through the whole thing.
Speaking of help, look, someone posted that was in the audience. This chick had a teleprompter the whole time. So, like, how much help do you need? You're already in a fake environment where I'm sure all the questions were pre-approved.
Yep.
And
like her debate.
Mm-hmm. But I just want to play this old clip because people were posting this in response to her gun statement. Listen to this clip of her back in the day.
Responsible behaviors among everybody in the community, and just because you legally possess a gun in the sanctity of your locked home doesn't mean that we're not going to walk into that home and check to see if you're being responsible and safe in the way you conduct your affairs.
Dang, sounds really
very authoritarian, right? Just because you own a gun in the sanctity of your home doesn't mean we're going to walk into that home and make sure that you're being responsible.
First of all, you can't walk into that home without a warrant.
When she's the DA,
Oh,
because she was the DA at this time. You ain't telling her nothing. She
wasn't that
using
next
people.
to her? Wasn't that
Gavin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was Gavin.
Yep.
Mr. Gavin Newsom.
Yeah. What does Trump call him? New scum.
He calls him new scum.
New scum. Yeah. Yeah. You know he always got the nicknames New Scum. But so Jake has some clips also from that I want to get into now because she went on a little rant about one of the main talking points, and I think the biggest leg that they're trying to stand on is this abortion issue.
Yeah. I've heard so many people say, I'm voting for her for
because of abortion,
for women's rights,
women's
health care,
which means abortion.
Yeah, and
it's usually young women.
Yeah, even basketball player, what's his name?
Oh, Steph Curry.
Steph Curry.
Yeah,
yeah, even Steph Curry.
Yeah,
said it.
Right.
You know.
Yeah,
he's supposed to be a Christian.
He's supposed to be a Christian. He came out saying he's voting for her because of the abortion thing. So let's get into this a little bit.
He didn't say abortion.
You're looking at a mother that is broken. Mm-hmm. The worst pain ever that a parent could ever feel. Her father and myself and the family, you're looking at it.
Well, we appreciate so deeply you being here. And we're all watching you hear that tape and those words. We know how re-traumatizing that is and the strength it takes for you to be here to tell your story.
So if you guys don't know, this has been they've been blasting this in the liberal media because it's about a girl who left Georgia to go get abortion pills because they were banned in Georgia for elective abortions. So she left the state to go get abortion pills. She took the pills and then ended up having a sepsis reaction, and she passed away. Mm-hmm. So of course they're using this as a weapon of, this is what happens when you ban abortion. People die, mm-hmm. But if you logically think through that whole situation, it has nothing to do with the ban on abortion. Yeah. The pills are what killed her.
That's what I was saying to Jake.
Yeah.
Remember I said, why are they blaming? It's the pills. She went to get pills somewhere.
And people do have bad reactions from these pills a lot of times because it's what it does to the body is not a normal thing. Mm-hmm. But someone's gonna break that down, and we'll get into it.
And we deeply appreciate it. And I have to ask you, as her sisters, how are you coping? And what does knowing?
But again, like Mom was saying, I just want to say this: this is all playing to emotion. This is all playing to women that
They're
are
all
gonna
crying.
vote emotionally.
Yeah. You're gonna see people in the audience. They keep panning to people in the audience.
Kamala acting like she really cares. Look.
Yeah, single issue voters that don't.
Like this?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Because
Just noticed that.
this is the problem when you have people that vote emotionally off of one issue, don't think about the entirety of what's going on in the country. They don't care about the economy that much, especially younger women.
And it's sad because she lost her life.
Yeah.
And it's sad for the family.
Yeah.
But they're being used.
Yeah.
They're being used for political gain.
Right.
And that's sad.
Right.
Yeah.
They're using this woman's death that could have been prevented, but they're saying it could have been prevented for the wrong reasons.
Right. Because if she got those pills from Georgia, it wouldn't have changed anything. Yeah. But why are we allowing people to just take a pill and do this?
Yeah.
Because we'll get into it. We'll get into it.
That this could have been prevented. How does that sit with you? How do you cope with that on a daily basis?
I mean, it's heartbreaking. That was my baby sister. I love my baby sister. I'm beyond hurt, disappointed. I feel guilty. I wish I could have helped her, because she was suffering. Mm-hmm. And we had no idea. We trusted them to take care of her, Mm-hmm. And they just let her die because of some stupid abortion ban. They treated her like she was just another number. Mm-hmm. They didn't care for her as if, she was their daughter or their, granddaughter. Yeah. And she's not here. She'll never come back.
Yeah. Andrika, what do you want to say?
I want to say that it's very disheartening that my sister was allowed to suffer for 20 hours. She suffered. It was nothing that we could do to help her. We trusted the healthcare professionals to do their job and save her, but they failed her.
Well, I think the most powerful thing that you've said here, Ms. Jeanette, is that your daughter is not a statistic. She had a life. She was loved by her sister.
Just so we know, what they're saying is, so she had complications with the miscarriage, because basically it induces
a miscarriage.
But
she had twins, which is another thing.
She had twins, which makes it even more complicated.
Right.
And then a lot of times what the hospitals will do is they'll wait to see if she's going to pass it or if they have to go in and do the DNC, which is a procedure to
extract the baby,
the whatever's left behind.
Yeah.
So what exactly? I don't know if you needed to finish your thought.
Well, no, I was just saying that. So that's the gray area,
right?
And there could have been malpractice there, but
that has nothing to do with the ban
nothing
either.
To do with the ban, it has everything to do with that's the doctor's discretion. That's what they're trying to figure out what to do,
right?
You know, and it turned out that she ended up passing away from it,
which is horrible.
Yeah, but to turn it around and make it like it's something that has to do with the abortion ban at all is such a perversion, and misleading people in a huge way.
You know, they're going to take the opportunity of a sad story, you know, because that's sad as heck. Somebody losing their life.
Yeah.
You know, they always use somebody's misfortune, somebody's tragic story to invoke emotion.
If she would have done it in Georgia, she would have died. Because the pill is what killed her. You know
So I was gonna ask, like, what exactly? I don't know if y'all know the laws in Georgia for abortion, and how far along she was. I don't know any of that detail.
Yeah, I think it wasn't. Isn't it like 6 weeks in Georgia?
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, I think she explains
because Georgia passed that heartbeat bill, right? I believe,
and
that was like 6 weeks, I think, and she was probably past that point. But the thing is, like, that doesn't include people that are in danger or in harm. Like, that doesn't include that. Like, they can still perform the DNC if you are having health complications or things like that.
If there's a miscarriage, like. The funny thing is, like, when you have a miscarriage, a natural miscarriage, not an induced one, but like when you have a miscarriage and you go to the hospital for it, they call it an abortion.
Yeah,
they call it like a I forget. It's like a I don't know. It's something abortion, like a accidental abortion or I don't know exactly, but there's a medical term for it. But so abortion doesn't necessarily mean that you killed the baby. Right. Sometimes it can be something that just happens. And then there's procedures, like sometimes they have to go in and do a DNC where they remove the baby. Even like you have when babies get caught up in the fallopian tubes, or when it gets caught somewhere else and you know that, well, that baby's going to die. Because it doesn't make it, it's not going to grow. Eventually, it's going to get stuck there, and then because it doesn't have the right nutrient, you know. I'm bad with these terms, so I don't know. But the point is that it's gonna end up dying, right? And with those situations, you let the pregnancy go until it just basically takes care of itself, and then you go in and remove the baby.
Yeah.
But all these things. So the point is that in no situation do you have to perform an abortion.
Right. Except for an elective.
In no situation do you have to kill a baby.
Right.
There's no situation. Like there's no, how about the health of, that's the thing. Like there's always ways you can do it.
Yeah.
If it's longer, babies can survive, I think 21 weeks in, right?
Yeah.
To the pregnancy. So you don't have to abort the baby. You just deliver the baby.
Yeah.
Right? So when you deliver the baby, then you deal with the woman's pregnancy. Like sometimes people have like preeclampsia or, they have high risk pregnancies.
Yeah.
And how they deal with that is they don't abort the baby. they just deliver the baby.
Yeah.
But, that baby is unwanted. When they're talking about it, it's...
Yeah, well, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do...
But you're right, though, Jay. I just looked it up.
Yeah, heartbeat bill 6 weeks. Right?
Yeah, abortion in Georgia is illegal after detection of embryonic cardiac cell activity, which is typically begins in the 5th or 6th week after onset of the last menstrual period.
Yeah. So, but in the case, the rare case that they always bring up, like say someone was, someone was assaulted by their family member, father, uncle, cousin, whatever. Young girl, 13 years old, 14 years old. It is traumatic to make that child carry that baby to term and then have that baby. You know what I mean?
I think it would be more traumatic to go through the abortion and kill the baby. Like,
well,
I
mean, for them to take a pill and deal with it that way is less traumatic than to have a later term abortion. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think, again, if you go through something like that, you've already been through the trauma.
Yeah.
Everything can be, again, what does it say? Paul says in Romans 8, all things, to those who love the Lord,
right?
All things work together for good.
Well, yeah, I understand that. But I'm saying to convince others that would be a better solution.
Well, there are people out there that are doctors, gynecologists who think in that way. Yeah. And they have... See, the problem is when you have an option, you don't think. Right. When you have when you say no, it's this. Like when they're saying, which is I think is the biggest problem, is when they're saying this is women's health care.
Yeah. Well, that's the spell of it. It's a lie. It's a way to get people to feel emotional about it, and if you frame it that way, of course, no one. It's like saying Black Lives Matter. Like no one's going to say no to that.
And this is the perfect case right here for them to use.
Yeah.
To say,
well, they had one at the last election because remember there was the young girl who was raped who had to leave the state to get an abortion.
But so my point is that when you bring up these situations, when you deem them as hopeless, you already pervert it, right? But you can always bring hope to it. And there are doctors out there that they can bring hope to it by giving them solutions that are literal solutions. But when you're thinking in a different way, you won't even see it. That's my point. Like, if you're thinking in this is healthcare, then you won't see that that's not healthcare. This can be healthcare. Right? This actually not healthcare. It can be, but it's actually like, is that really caring? That's the problem. Like, when we say healthcare, we say these words, but some people are really bad at caring. And maybe they don't know. And that's all you could grow up in a household where, your parents care, but it's dysfunctional in your house. And that's all they know. But then when you go to another house, you're like, oh, this is what a healthy house. Oh, that's actual health. Yeah. I thought I lived in a healthy house. Yeah. But it's not healthy. Yeah. Right. It's actually dysfunctional and very unhealthy. So you have to, but you won't know that until you see the difference. Right. So when they keep pushing this unhealthy thing, this unhealthy mental state on people, because fear and anxiety is what they're pushing. Yeah. And that's causing an unhealthy America.
But it's easy. That's an easier sell for people.
But that's what the dude from this psychologists that are pushing this all this
mental health
this
stuff.
Mental health stuff, which is connected to the amount of the gender dysphoria, right? Stuff that's going on. All this is care, right? But it's bad care,
right?
When you again, what are they doing? We talked about this on here. That when you highlight the problems and you're always talking about your problems, you have no solutions.
Yeah.
You're just talking about your problems. Well, I'm going through this and I'm going through that. But everything that we go through, that's just something to get over. It's just a hurdle, right?
Right.
But there's hope on the other side. So our focus should be what's on the other side, right?
Yeah.
What's the hope? How can these things be turned around for good?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's why I said that, because those should be the leaders in healthcare, right? But
it's too easy for someone to come in and affirm all of the other things.
Yeah.
It's too easy for that. It's too easy for someone to come in and say, like, you've already been through your trauma. There's no need to add to that trauma and make you carry this baby to term. We have a way for you, you know, and then they make a bunch of money off of this. The pharmaceutical companies make money off of all of this. So that's an easier sell.
Yeah. I mean, there is a thing of meeting people where they are, but that doesn't mean keeping them where they are.
Right.
That means raising them up, coming alongside of them. And there are the amount of Planned Parenthoods that there are out there. There's also almost the same amount, sometimes if not more, in cities of places you can go to that are going to give you ways to keep your baby, to adopt, but you still stay in the baby's life. Like, somebody can adopt the baby, but you're still in their lives. Like, there's all these different options out there that even to come alongside you, help you with money, help you. Like, there's so many options out there. The problem is they'd rather promote Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
You know, they'd rather promote all these destructive things and say this is healthcare. But there are so many places out there that are for life.
Right.
You know, how can we further life?
Well, we know why they go so far to promote Planned Parenthood. I mean, they've done the behind the scenes footage of what they're doing, what they're doing with these babies and what they're serving, and who's making money off of this. You know.
Yeah.
So.
They talk about, like, you know, women's health and stuff like that, but I don't hear them talk about how traumatic having an abortion is. Yeah. You know like chemically it does something to the woman. If it's just, you know, their health care, why is it so emotional for them to go through that process?
Right.
You know, it's I don't know. I see how bad it is to how bad it can be for the woman, but at the same time I see them using it and just twisting it and saying that, you know, this is what you need for you to be healthy. Yeah. You know?
And the fact is 98 to 99% of all abortions are elective.
Yeah.
You know, they're just convenience abortions.
Contraception, that's what they look at it.
Yeah. So
Jeff said spontaneous abortion. I think he was talking about when I was trying to figure out what it was called.
Yeah. All right, so you want to play some of the reaction?
Yeah, so just so people know, the woman's name who passed away, her name was, pretty sure it was Amber Thurman.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of already know the story.
Yeah.
She left Georgia, went to a different state. I don't even know the state.
North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah.
And got the pill. You can get these pills mailed to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she talks about it, so I guess we could just go into it.
The author was Kavitha Surana, tells a story about how pro-life laws are to blame for the deaths. And this woman, who was Amber Thurman, she was a single mother. She had a 6-year-old son. She was pregnant with twins. She had twin babies that she found out she was pregnant with. How she went out of state, out of Georgia, because Georgia has an abortion ban. They do not permit abortions. And she went out of state to North Carolina to go get, ultimately, the abortion pill. So she took the abortion pill. She went home, and she started to have serious complications. Now, here's where the first lie from ProPublica comes in. ProPublica is blaming a pro-life law for her complications. Her complications were directly a consequence of taking the abortion pill. Amber Thurman ultimately ended up dying because she took abortion pills, which killed her twins and then threatened and ultimately took her own life. This is not some random accident of what happened to Amber. Abortion pills at large in America, according to the latest data, land 1 out of every 25 women in the emergency room. So this is now 60% of all abortions. Abortion pills were, under the Biden administration, the FDA lifted even more controls and regulations off of abortion pills. They can now be delivered via mail. So you can just get your abortion pill in the mail, or you can, in this case of Amber, you could just drive to another state. And 1 out of every 25 women who are taking abortion pills end up in the emergency room because the complications are so severe. Why are the complications so severe? Well, the abortion pill regimen is 2 different pills. One of the pills is designed to starve the developing baby of nutrients, basically blocking the flow of progesterone so that the baby no longer can attach to the lining of the uterus and get the nutrients that he or she needs. And then the second abortion pill is used to ultimately force a labor of that baby, force a miscarriage. And so what happens sometimes is it doesn't complete the process of forcing the miscarriage. What happens is the baby is killed, the baby's dead, and instead of miscarrying that baby, the pill fails. And so the baby, the parts of this baby are left inside the mother. And the problem with this is it can lead to hemorrhaging or infection and can lead to death. In fact, women have died from the abortion pill. So it's a horrible, everything about it is horrible and heartbreaking, right? Every aspect of this. Heartbreaking for the lives of the babies that have been killed and are being killed by these pills. Heartbreaking for the mothers who choose this, sometimes out of ignorance, sometimes out of fear, sometimes just out of the own darkness in our human heart, and choosing to take these pills, which can have such serious complications and sometimes life-threatening complications. So let's keep going back to Amber's story, though. She comes back from North Carolina to her state of Georgia. She starts to bleed a lot. She's bleeding heavily. She's starting to have an infection, and she ultimately her body goes into septic shock. Now, ProPublica presents this as, well, they didn't provide her health care in Georgia because it's a pro-life state. But the reality is there is nothing in Georgia pro-life law that says that you cannot treat a miscarriage. At this point, she's effectively having a miscarriage because she took the abortion pills. And they particularly zeroed in on the DNC procedure. Now, you guys who are familiar with this and who kind of follow abortion politics and understand the abortion issue, understand that a DNC can be used in an abortion procedure to kill a developing baby. But DNCs can also be used in a miscarriage if the baby has already passed away and there's infection that may take place, or it's a missed miscarriage, the baby hasn't passed yet, to remove the baby. And so ProPublica claiming that it was Georgia's pro-life law that killed Amber is a complete and utter lie. And what's so tragic about this lie, guys, is that they're using Amber's death and the death of her twin babies as justification for saying, let's have abortion on demand in the state of Georgia. Mm-hmm. That's what they're doing. In fact, Kamala Harris, I want to pull up.
And let's elect Kamala because she's gonna overturn Roe v. Wade and codify abortion federally
because they want to kill babies.
Yeah,
and that's really the point. They want, because
they
when you
want to be able to kill babies.
When you look at it, you don't have to.
Right.
It's medicine right now. We have the means to do almost anything in terms of actual women's health and bringing them along, right? And trying to save the baby at the same time. So it doesn't have to be one or the other. It's and both, where they try to make it like it's one or the other, which is the big lie, and which is the big lie here. Right. It didn't have to be that. Well, in this case, she just didn't want to have the babies, right? So she terminated.
Right.
But again, if there were laws against this, then that wouldn't have been even a choice. And then you have to start thinking in a different way.
Right.
When you feel like, I don't know why she did it, right, Amber? I don't know why she did it, but she must have felt hopeless. It must have been a hopeless situation. And where are the people that could come alongside of her and give her hope?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, she made a mistake. She did something she probably shouldn't do. That's probably why she was in this situation. But there's still hope.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean everybody makes mistakes. We make mistakes, right? Some mistakes have bigger consequences than others.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that all hope is lost, right? There's always hope. And that's the point like we're trying to make in this. But when you already think, they're giving you the narrative and telling you that they care, but they really don't, because they're not giving you a hopeful thing. They're giving you a false hope.
Yeah.
How can hope be in killing? Yeah. How can hope be in killing a life?
Yeah.
That does not make sense.
Right.
An innocent life that can't speak for itself. That's a perversion.
Yeah.
When you're trying to twist it, right? To make it look like that life has no significance, right? Or value. But this life does. No, they both do.
Yeah.
Your life has value, and that baby's life has value.
And using it,
And they both can survive.
And they both can survive.
Using it.
That's sad.
Because she, like, no matter what the law was, she still would have had that. She probably, you know, I don't want to, but if she still would have, if she would have taken the pill, no matter what, if the law were, you know, whatever, and probably the same thing might have happened.
Yeah.
You know, but they still treated her when the complications had, you know, at the hospital.
Yeah, and listen, we don't know. They could have the hospital. Listen, hospitals don't always get it right, and there's a lot of malpractice going on. We saw it all through COVID. There's a lot of bad procedure going on, and it could be the case there. You know, but for it to be weaponized the way it is, because they know, the Democrats know that is their biggest sell, especially to women out there.
Yeah,
that's their biggest sell. They really have nothing else.
Yeah, this happened at the just the perfect time. You know, with the election happening.
Can we go back to, because I don't even think we heard Kamala talk about it.
Oh, right.
Yeah, can we go back to that just so we can
The
get
author was Kavitha Surana.
You're loved by her sisters, loved by her.
The word over and over again in her mind is learned about how
What this country needs in terms of reproductive rights and freedom. What do you want to say, Madam Vice President?
I'm just so sorry. And the courage that you all have shown is extraordinary, because also you just learned about how it is that she died. And
they just recently learned. Yes.
How?
Yeah.
And Amber's mom shared with me that the word over and over again in her mind is preventable.
Yeah.
Preventable. That word keeps coming to her. And this story is a story that is sadly not the only story of what has been happening since these bans have taken place. And, you know, just to step back in terms of how we got here. The former president chose 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would overdo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did as he intended, and in state after state, including yours, these abortion bans have been passed that criminalize healthcare providers. In a couple of states, prison for life, Oprah. Prison for life in a couple of states for a doctor or a nurse who provides healthcare. And so
who provides healthcare?
It seems very apparent.
Even when the mother's life is in danger.
See, here's the problem with that.
That's a lie.
Here's the problem with that. So is she on death's door before you actually decide to give her help?
That's the problem.
Is that what we're saying?
Yeah. That you've got to prove you're on death's door.
Like literally a doctor or a nurse has to say, she might die any minute, better give her now care. Because otherwise I might go to prison for life in some cases. Think about what
I love how the
sign.
That sign. Like, not a plant.
They trust women.
We must be a nation that trusts women.
Doesn't even make sense.
That's planned.
That's the dumbest thing.
Planned.
Of course it is.
So just
that's
trust all women.
That's
so
a plant
phony
in the audience.
It's so phony.
That's just trust all women. Do you trust all men?
Right.
Women? Trust
no one.
All women, but so you trust any man, right? That take them home, right?
No,
come
trust
on, man.
God.
Stop it. This is all lies. First of all, everything that she said had no correlation to the other.
Right.
The fact that people will go to jail has nothing to do with actual health care that Amber could have got.
Right.
Yeah, it was preventable. It was preventable that she didn't have to take the pill.
Right.
If she had the right information, she would have saw how dangerous it was.
Right.
That was preventable.
Yeah.
It was preventable that if she had and I don't know her family or how everything works, but that could she go to them and say, this is what I'm struggling with. I need help.
Right.
Obviously that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
But the sad thing is, they're blaming the abortion ban, but what about the pills? Nobody's talking about the danger.
That's what I just said, Mom.
No, but I'm saying these people are talking about that so much, and they don't bring up, well, the pills are dangerous.
Right.
Yeah.
Taking them.
Yeah.
1 in 25.
No one's going to say that, should we be looking into these pills? Are they safe? They don't want to talk about that. They don't touch that.
Killing 1 out of 20 women.
1 out of 25.
No, they didn't say they're
not
killing.
Sending them to the emergency room.
Well,
which means they're having complications.
Yeah.
Which actually means that the second pill isn't working.
Yeah.
Because if it works right, you're gonna you're going to destroy the baby, kill the baby, right? Because
the first pill is what starves it.
It starves
and then
it
dies.
And then the
second pill is what induces the labor,
actual miscarriage.
The labor.
The labor.
That's just horrible.
It's torture.
That's horrible.
But if the second pill doesn't work, now you have an alien object in you. That's what causes the septic thing, because it's dying in you. You know, so it's like you have stuff inside of you that you need to get out.
Yeah. And the other thing is they keep saying like, you know, this ban, but you just looked it up.
Yeah.
It's 6 weeks.
Yeah. Up to
5 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess the argument is it's hard to catch it before that. It's hard to know if you're pregnant before that.
I mean, even if it's not 6 weeks, even if it's to the point you conceive.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with the other?
Well, I'm just saying, like, to frame it as a ban, you're already...
Yeah. Well, even if it is a ban.
Yeah.
Like, my thing is like, okay, let's say it is a ban, right? And what's the point of you saying what you're saying? Because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't correlate.
Yeah.
They're creating a straw man, right? They're literally building something and beating it up and saying, this is what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
They're saying something that is not real.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing that's crazy to me.
And it's so phony.
Go back to the other.
You guys can't see that it's just all playing on emotions. Like she's talking about it, and just so happens somebody has a beautiful sign that's created, and they go right to it.
And I guess that's a quote from Kamala, because it says Kamala Harris at the bottom.
So that's why.
That's why it makes no sense.
That's why it's dumb.
Oh, yeah.
We must be a nation that trusts women. That doesn't make sense. You don't just trust people because you should trust people.
Right.
No. Actually,
like Jamie said, trust
God.
in the Lord.
Yeah.
Trust in God.
It's funny because doesn't the Bible say, blessed are those who trust in God?
Yeah.
Cursed are those who trust in man.
Yep.
That includes women.
Yes.
Mankind.
The author was Kavitha Sarana.
Right.
And so ProPublica claiming that it was Georgia's pro-life law. Kamala Harris, I want to pull up this tweet for you guys. Kamala Harris, the vice president of the United States, came out recently. It was today, actually. I think it was this morning. With this tweet. Let's pull this tweet up. She says, a young mother from Georgia should be alive today, raising her son and pursuing her dream of attending nursing school. This is exactly what we feared when Roe v. Wade was struck down. In more than 20 states, Trump abortion bans prevent doctors from providing basic medical care. This is a complete and utter lie. Georgia does not prohibit in any way, shape, or form. Georgia does not prohibit, pro-life Georgia, in any way, shape, or form using a DNC procedure in the case of a miscarriage. And in the case of a life-threatening medical emergency, in rare cases, early delivery of a baby may be necessary. And Georgia doesn't permit that, doesn't forbid that either. So the first fact that everyone needs to know about this case is that DNCs are not illegal in Georgia or in any pro-life state unless the DNC procedure is being used to intentionally kill a child, aka an elective abortion.
So again, a DNC is used to remove a baby.
Right.
Yeah.
But what she's saying is it's about after the baby has died.
Right.
On its
But
own.
they're framing it as health care is being kept from women when that is not the case. It's only in the case when you want to use the DNC to kill an actual developing baby.
Yes.
That is what is illegal. If the DNC procedure is being used to kill somebody, it is wrong. The DNC procedure is used in a rare case of maybe a miscarriage to remove a baby who's already passed away. That is medical care. That distinction is incredibly important. Number two, fact check for this Amber story is that sepsis, and this is ProPublica talking about how Amber endured sepsis that ultimately killed her. Sepsis is a known risk of the abortion pill. In fact, if you have, you see the abortion pill comes with a black box warning, because the abortion pill is a lethal drug, and the abortion pill, its own black box warning indicates that this can be a deadly drug. Even though they're claiming, oh, this is safer than Tylenol, yada, yada. No, it has a black box warning because the abortion pill can lead to sepsis. It can lead to infection that can be lethal for the mom. Now, I wasn't in the shoes of the healthcare folks who were treating Amber. I don't know how much care or lack of care she specifically received. I think in many of these cases, medical malpractice may come into play. There's tons of that, unfortunately, happening in our country. Medical malpractice is a serious issue. And so this could be an element here. But of course, ProPublica doesn't want to blame medical malpractice, again, ProPublica and Kamala Harris and other pro-abortion advocates want to blame pro-life laws. Finally, ProPublica, of course, and Kamala Harris, for that matter, is not being honest about Georgia's pro-life law. Georgia's pro-life law very clearly states that in a life-threatening medical emergency, early delivery may be necessary and can be permitted. And it also in no way prohibits using the DNC procedure in the case of a missed miscarriage. That is the reality. And in fact, there is no pro-life law in the country that prohibits treatment of an ectopic pregnancy or that says that you can't use a DNC in a case of a missed miscarriage. Those pro-life laws don't exist because everybody
ectopic pregnancy is what I was talking about earlier. If the baby doesn't travel down to...
If it gets stuck in the fallopian tube. Yeah, right.
Pro-life understands the difference between removing a baby who's already passed away versus killing intentionally a living baby, or the difference in the case of an ectopic pregnancy, removing the baby from a hostile environment if the baby's developing in a fallopian tube, and the tragic death of that baby that
because they bring up that all the time, that example all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't the intention, right? That wasn't the goal to kill the baby, but to remove it from the hostile environment of the fallopian tube where it's implanted there instead of the uterus, and the baby can't grow, or the baby's already dead or is dying, and the mother could have a life-threatening complication because there could be a rupture. That has never been prohibited by any pro-life law in the books in this country. I want to address something else here, which is this mythology now that's developing that somehow abortion is healthcare, right? And we need abortion for medical emergencies. When the reality is some of the countries with the best.
Oh no.
Right? And we've got. I want to address something else here, which is this mythology.
You missed that.
I sent you the wrong one. That's what happened.
Somehow abortion is healthcare, right? And we need abortion for medical emergencies. When the reality is some of the countries with the best pro-life laws have the lowest maternal mortality rates in the world. This is really interesting data that I wanted to share with you guys. Did you know, as an example, and we're going to show this chart here in a minute, the country of Malta has one of the lowest maternal mortality rates in the world. Malta is a fully pro-life country, so they do not permit any abortion. And they have not had a single maternal death in 12 years. All right, check out this chart.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
This is really incredible. So this is a chart through the year 2020 from the year 2000. So 20 years of maternal mortality rates. So your maternal mortality rate as a country, as you guys probably know, is how many women basically are dying who are pregnant, whether it's from birth or pregnancy. And what's so incredible about this maternal mortality ratio, this is a modeled estimate. So for every 100,000 live births, so it's taking into account the size of populations, et cetera. You can see the top line here is China. Okay, this red line. An extremely high maternal mortality rate. It's gone down over the last 20 years, but it's still very high. Who's up there with China in terms of having an extremely high maternal mortality rate? And China, by the way, as you guys know, is
we went up towards China.
And in many ways, coerced abortion. Who else has a sky-high maternal mortality rate? The United States. Who has a lower maternal mortality rate than the United States? The UK is lower than us. But even lower than the UK are 3 countries who have been very pro-life. 2 of them are still strongly pro-life, and one of them in just recent years has faltered. But before that, it was strongly pro-life, and their maternal mortality rates were some of the best in the world. Those countries include Ireland, Malta, and Poland. Malta, I already mentioned, has not had a maternal death in 12 years. Ireland had a complete abortion ban for decades until just a few years ago. But you see, for the 20 years of 2000 to 2020, how low their maternal mortality rate was. They didn't need abortion for women's healthcare in Ireland. They don't need abortion for women's healthcare in Malta. Those are some of the healthiest populations and the safest places to have a baby. There's no abortion. There was no abortion in Ireland, and there is no abortion in Malta. But the United States, with our 1 million abortions a year, we're killing more women who are pregnant than any of these other countries on this graph, except for China. So when you look at a holistic view of what does a healthcare system look like that is actually going to help women and lead to better outcomes for women, it does not include abortion. So this is the big lie, right? This is the big scam of media today. The big scam of media today is that you need abortion, that killing a baby is somehow healthcare. When thousands of OBGYNs agree abortion is not healthcare, it's not needed in a medical setting. And when we know the truth that abortion is actually the intentional destruction of an innocent human life. That's what an abortion is. And it's never medically necessary. It is just, honestly, it's just heartbreaking. And it should lead us to, I think, a righteous indignation that these lies are just told incessantly.
Okay.
Who's that guy?
That's something.
That's something else. We might get to that.
It's so sad, man, that isn't it crazy how when the thing that is so dangerous about who you listen to, who you are giving your heart to, your ear to, is that's who's going to give you your view of the world.
Yep.
It's going to give you how you see how to interact with the world. So, because you're literally putting on their glasses.
Right.
You know, this is what a worldview is. And this is what's happening. So it's so hard for so many people in America because they are listening to quote unquote professionals.
Yeah.
Right? Professionals who call themselves, oh, you got to listen to the professional doctors, the ones who know what they're talking about, who are giving you options that are demonic.
Yeah.
Like, think about what they said about that pill. Like, dude, whoever created that pill, I don't know if you heard what it does. Like, when they went into what it does.
Yeah.
Those things had to have been figured out, right? And then you had to have the thought, we can use this for abortion. That's demonic.
Yeah.
For your mind to go there.
Yep.
You get what I'm saying? Like, you have to work these things out. So the fact that this even comes about, it's a thought process. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, it's a way, we can make money off this.
How can we spin this?
We can
spin it as healthcare.
And then you market it, right? You advertise it, you market it. And the marketing is how you sell it. So you're telling people, oh, this is what it is. But you do it by what? Tugging on their heartstrings. Or just giving them options so that they can get out of not really being responsible.
Yeah.
Taking responsibility for their actions, right?
Owning up to your mistakes.
Yeah. So then now there's not even any accountability because you can just sweep it under the rug.
Yep.
And I'm speaking about something that I went through this, right? I'm responsible for killing a baby, right? Me and my wife before we were married. And if it was, I always say this to people, if it was illegal at that time, that would not have happened. We wouldn't have another baby here. I would have another kid, right? That would not have happened.
Yeah.
But the fact that we could make a choice at that time that was irresponsible of us, it should never have been an option.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? If people truly cared.
Yeah.
You know? Because there are so many other options that speak to life, that speak to hope. Right? And this is what Jesus said. The enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy. The thief comes to kill, not the thief.
Yeah.
Because this is the thing. When people are speaking to you and you're taking these things in, they're stealing from you.
Right.
They're stealing life from you. The thief comes to kill, steal, and destroy. But Jesus says, I have come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. So this is literally about changing how you see your situations, the world, right? If you have hope, you can be responsible when it's hard. When you make a mistake.
Yep.
Because you got hope. When people come alongside you and say, listen, you made some bad decisions. Shouldn't have did that. But there's solutions. You know? We're not going to shame you. There's solutions.
3 lives were sacrificed.
3 lives, yeah.
Sacrificed.
In that situation. How many lives?
I know.
How many lives have been sacrificed?
Yeah.
I'm saying 3 and 1.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's horrible.
Yeah.
Katie Cat on YouTube was commenting on something we said earlier. Fetal tissue and organs is a hot commodity. That is another side of it.
Yeah, that's an even darker side of it.
Yep. All right, so I want to keep going down that road because, you know, there's a lot more other stuff with this spell of the Kamala Harris campaign. Like it's so obvious that she's really not a candidate of substance. They're latching onto these ideas of where she can win and where she can get people caught up in emotions or in identity to vote for her. But optically, they know that the support's really not there. Someone else came out exposing one of their tactics. I want to show this real quick. This person says, why is Kamala Harris's campaign all based on lies and scams?
So I just left my nail salon and my nail tech, I've been going there for 15 years, so they're like family to me. But they said that their one cousin is in South Philly, and listen to this. She is getting paid $700 a week to go to wherever Kamala's campaign tells them to go to. So it's $100 a day, $700 a week. And she's not even a citizen. She can't vote, but she wants that extra money, so that's why she's doing it. So their campaign is getting a bunch of people. That's why you see these people on the side of the roads with signs or whatever, going to these protests. They get travel paid for and everything, and they're not even able to vote. So they're just standing there with signs for no fucking reason.
Where are they getting this money from?
Where do you think? Do you remember all that money she raised?
Us.
No.
Taxpayers.
No. All that money she raised from small donations in the first day that she announced running for president.
Yeah, where'd that all come from?
We showed the video how all that money that was funneled in through Act Blue came from fake donations from mega donors.
Soros.
And they used people's names. They put it in people's names. They had no clue that they donated to her. So there's billionaires backing this.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
I want to make a point.
Go ahead.
She said her nail tech is from South Philly.
Yeah.
And she's not a citizen.
Vietnamese
or
Cambodian. Yep.
From South Philly.
Getting that
and
extra
nail
money.
tech. You know, they go into that.
Now, I know you might be saying, well, that's just her word. You know, she's saying that somebody told her that their cousin, blah, blah, blah. But someone else did a little video breakdown with a little bit more harder data on this. Let's check this out.
From the Kamala rally, 5,003 mobile devices at Kamala Harris's rally in Charlotte, North Carolina on Thursday afternoon. It appears over 3,600 came from Georgia, mainly Atlanta, Georgia, and approximately 720 from Savannah, Georgia. So that's a North Carolina rally with almost 80% of the attendees being from Georgia.
After you do the math, that's only 600 or so local people from North Carolina that attended. That's all who shows up, and you're planning to what, get 80-something million votes again? Something ain't right. And then all these people come from buses, and it's kind of weird because at the Trump events, you don't really have like organized buses like that. People just kind of show up and park on their own. But at the Kamala rally, there's just these lines of buses at every event, which is weird. And a lot of the people are also the same people that attend multiple rallies. Can you read those tweets?
Any of the same ones from previous event, because this guy's tracking the cell phones, I guess, and he says 90% have been to 3+ rallies, 54% were even at Arizona and Nevada rallies.
How is that possible?
They're big
that's
fans,
how
bro.
that's how it's possible. You pay somebody weekly to travel and be at all these events. 90% of the people at her rallies have been to 3 or more rallies.
Wow.
54% were even at Arizona and Nevada. You're talking about a whole different part of the country. So their whole entire job is just to pretend to be a rally goer for her.
The whole thing is a lie.
Yeah. But that's the optics that they're looking for. That's how they got to make it seem like there's excitement behind her. Someone else tweeted out the same thing. Cell phone data shows Kamala Harris rallies are astroturfed. Harris's campaign has been using supporters into rallies across the country to ensure they can fill each venue. Big data pioneer Tony Saruga has been confirming this by tracking cell phones at each event. This is Madison, Wisconsin rally included 9,344 phones. 487 were staffers. 2,800 people were from Georgia in Madison, Wisconsin.
Wow.
8,300 of whom had been to 3+ prior rallies.
And we were just in Georgia.
Yeah.
And again, it was a little weird.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because I actually spoke to a couple people on the plane.
Yeah.
And they were like Kamala supporters. But it's just weird to me, like, the things they say.
Yeah.
Dude, they have no real
No
talking.
reasons.
No reasons.
Yeah.
They're just, oh, I just like her. Oh, she just...
Well, we know it's
her.
mostly TDS.
I like her character.
Yeah.
They don't even know what that means.
Yep.
Like, what is that? Like,
her character is whatever is told to portray to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so sad because we don't even understand things anymore. That's how bad school is. Like
Yeah.
we don't even understand what things mean. So when you say something like character, it just sounds like something good that somebody said, but you don't actually know what it means,
Right.
or want to really know what it means. So
exactly,
it's bad, man.
So I was looking at something, and I remember this old clip from a Dave Chappelle show, right? And I thought, I got the perfect test that we can do to find out if Kamala is really black or not. But we got to get a journalist to sneak inside her house and find out. And let's play this clip, Mom, because this is how you find out.
I learned that white people don't use washcloths. Did you know that?
I agree. I think the washcloth is a poor person thing. Because
I've only met poors who use them. I've never met.
Wait, but is it also European? Because I have European friends that do it as well.
Maybe they're poor. I don't know.
I don't know. But we never did in my house. There was
it's
no
disgusting.
time for that.
I know. I've ended friendships when I saw washcloths. I'm serious. I don't want that stink on me,
Yeah.
that like poor stink.
Yeah. But I don't understand. I guess it is just so that you don't have to touch your hands to your genitals.
Yeah, we don't have that much soap to go around.
Do you use a washcloth? No, me either.
I think
disgusting.
Am I scrubbing my body with a washcloth?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
I know. I think we're.
That is like a UTI waiting to happen.
I think we're in the minority. I really do. No, I think we are.
People use washcloths?
I think so.
Like for their body?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like, what are you washing your butt with?
My hand.
I mean, like, what?
I would never.
Isn't that more disgusting?
Would never do that.
Yeah.
You'll burn the wash.
What's the first thing you wash?
Okay, I definitely go hair first.
Hair first?
Hair first.
Do you wash your hair every time?
Well, I only take like one shower.
This one is dumb.
In the shower.
No.
What do you use?
A loofah.
I made the conscious decision to stop washing my hands because all I turned.
And when the clip went viral and they said we were abusing people, I was like,
oh Lord.
They said something about privilege too. I was like, what? I didn't know
So
that.
this was a whole like compilation of white people don't use washcloths, and Black Twitter was posting this because Black people have said that for years. That was the Dave Chappelle skit. Remember, he's like, I realize white people don't use washcloths when they wash. So what we need to do is we got to get somebody to get into the shower and see if there's a washcloth hanging in there. If there's a washcloth, then we know might be some black in there. You know what I'm saying? If it's a loofah or if it's just a bar of soap, then
Puerto Ricans don't use washcloths either.
Huh?
Puerto Ricans don't use washcloths either.
No.
Well,
I always give
well,
my
mom.
grandkids washcloths when they take a
Yeah, mom uses washcloths.
Mom does
no,
because.
but now I use little sponges.
Yeah.
But when
Loofahs.
you were growing up, did you use washcloths?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Leslie's family doesn't.
Yeah.
That's just.
Do y'all use washcloths when you wash?
The Asians?
I don't.
Yeah.
We're poor.
Do you use washcloths though?
I just use soap.
I use washcloths, but not all the time.
Right.
Though.
Yeah, I do too sometimes.
Yeah, me
not
too.
all the time.
Sometimes.
Not all the time.
Yeah.
But Dad used to use them all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And our grandparents.
I used
they
to
always
use
had
them all the time.
Yeah.
Until, I got married.
Yeah.
And Leslie didn't use them all the time.
Right.
So then I'm like,
Yeah.
it kind of makes sense.
It is kind of like bacteria does get on the wash.
Yeah.
Like it does kind of get nasty.
And
But that's why you're supposed to change them.
Yeah.
but also you're not supposed to be scrubbing your body that hard all the time.
It takes like all the natural oils. and
Right.
Yeah.
Stuff off
And
of
the bacteria the good bacteria that's on your skin. Listen, there's something to be said about, because there was a bunch of people in this clip that were talking about how they barely shower. Like that one girl was saying she just washes her hair and gets out.
Yeah.
There was other people that like say they barely shower anymore. The one girl was saying she doesn't wash her hands anymore. Like she just doesn't do it. I mean, I've said that before on the
I don't know
podcast.
about washing my hands.
I know, but I mean, that whole thing of people found out that using hand sanitizer every day was not good for you.
It's not good. Yeah.
And I mean, there might be something to be said about if we overdo it with showering. Like that's not something that did
I'm
exist?
a firm believer.
That's not something that existed.
Well, the water is so bad anyway.
Right.
Imagine you're putting that every day.
Yeah,
day
maybe
and
that's
night.
why they want you showering every day. All the fluoride in the water gets those skin is the biggest organ on your body.
It's funny. We just talked about Ghanaians they use with our driver actually, and I was telling them about because Nana is staying with me for a little bit, and I saw this mesh thing. It looked like a little net, and I was like, "What the heck is that?" And I found out it was a washcloth, and we kind of connected with our driver with that. He was like, "Soup," and Nana actually ended up buying me one today.
Oh, that's funny. Talking about
it's
is this it right here?
It looks like a net.
It says Ghana sponge.
I can barely see it.
You don't see it?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Like that?
It's a net. Once you open it, it looks like
literally
it looks like a net.
It literally says 2-piece African net sponge.
Yeah. Yeah, but they swear by it. You heard our driver from Georgia. He was like, "It'll change your life."
Yeah.
I've never heard of that until you were talking about it.
Me either. I didn't even know.
So I guess, all the Africans out there, black people.
And you ain't black.
Yeah.
That's funny. I have 2 different ones. Like I'll wash with one, and then the next day I'll wash with a different one.
Yeah. Can I just talk about that for a second?
Yeah.
The fact that Biden got to say that and y'all weren't up in arms. I'm talking to all my black people
all
out
the woke
there.
people.
The fact that y'all let that slide is crazy.
Yeah.
Charlemagne,
That he said
that
y'all
he
ain't-
told
if you
black
don't vote-
people,
vote for me, you ain't black.
Yeah. He said if you have to choose between me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Yeah, and Charlemagne didn't say nothing.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't correct that at all. But, choosing between Trump and Kamala, did you see who came out and backed Kamala Harris recently?
Who's that?
It was a huge joke. Watch this.
Well, guys, I was going to vote for Trump, and then I saw that the IRS union endorsed Kamala. That really pushed me over the edge, and now I think I'm going to side with the people that robbed me blind. And vote for Kamala. These idiots. Why did they even post this? They should have thrown this so far under the rug.
They posted it like proud about it. The IRS union.
Yeah. You know why though, right?
Because they're gonna come after our taxes. Like, they're like,
Hold up. Can we talk about her tax
plan?
Her crazy tax plan?
Yeah, we can.
Did you have any of that?
I don't have anything on there, but I could pull it up real quick.
I actually have something on.
Okay, I thought that was pretty funny.
Dang.
Yeah.
I didn't edit it.
Trump actually mentioned it in one of his rallies. Like, he said, let me see if I can find it.
Frankly.
Yeah. He's like, did you hear about this? The IRS, they're backing Kamala.
That is such. You knew that. I mean, they
officially endorsed by IRS.
Here we go.
It's no wonder that Kamala Harris was just officially endorsed by IRS agents. Do you believe it? That's when you'd say, I'd rather not have that endorsement. But
He said, do you believe
Can
it?
you believe it?
Here, Jamie, I'm sending it to you now.
Okay.
Yeah.
That couldn't have been real life funnier.
We don't have to go through the whole thing, but a couple of the things, like, dude, it's a little crazy. Some of this stuff that's in there.
No one seems to know this, but Amazon actually has a $50 million fund that they have to pay.
With the U.S. presidential election rapidly approaching, voters need to understand the candidates' tax plans. Today, I'm going to break down Vice President Kamala Harris's tax plan. If you want to learn more about Trump's tax proposal, then check out these videos that I've done recently on them so you can get a better understanding. But without further ado, let's dive in. All right, guys, as we know, President Joe Biden dropped out of the presidential race on July 21st, 2000.
So this guy's gonna critique Kamala's plan, and he's a black guy. I guess I gotta hit him with it.
You ain't black.
2024, right in the middle of his campaign. And this has created a very interesting situation where Vice President Kamala Harris took over as the Democratic frontrunner for the presidential election with just a few short months to go, and without actually winning a Democratic primary election.
Yeah,
Ever
very
since
true.
Kamala took over, she has given very few interviews and has answered very few questions to clarify her economic policies. This has left many people confused about exactly where she stands on.
Have you seen the new strategy though lately of them trying to turn the tables on that, saying that Trump isn't talking about his policies?
Yes.
They're saying he doesn't have any policies.
She said it all on at her debate. He doesn't have a plan. He doesn't have the plan. His
Right.
plan sucks.
Right.
Wait a minute. He doesn't have a plan.
His plan is going to raise your taxes. Wait, so does he have a plan or not have a plan?
Well, what's your plan, Kamala? He doesn't have a plan.
Yeah, right.
That's what she kept going back to.
Someone
She kept on
questioned-
saying, I have a plan.
Someone questioned John Fetterman about Kamala flip-flopping on fracking, because you know Fetterman's in PA, and he flip-flopped on fracking now too, because it's very unpopular, right? So a reporter questioned him about that, and they were like, so is Kamala changed her stance? Like, why has she done such a heavy U-turn on fracking? And he's like, I mean, they're eating cats, they're eating dogs. Are we really talking about this right now? Like,
What?
He didn't want to answer the question. He kept bringing up the fact that Trump talked about cats and dogs.
Deflecting.
Yeah, saying like Trump doesn't want to talk about policies. He wants to talk about eating cats and eating dogs. So how about Kamala flip-flopping on fracking? They're eating cats and eating dogs. Like, are we really talking about this? It was so ridiculous.
Important issues such as taxation. However, she has made some comments throughout her campaigns, and she's also released a new tax plan in early September. So I'm going to break down her key points for her tax plan so we all know, what does the Harris administration believe in? Here's proposal number 1.
Capital
Taxing
gains.
unrealized capital gains.
This is
Kamala Harris
crazy.
wants to tax unrealized capital gains for the wealthy, and President Biden originally proposed this, but Kamala has announced that she also supports this idea. If you do not know what an unrealized gain is, it's a hypothetical profit that you might make one day by selling a capital asset such as a stock or a piece of real estate at a higher price than what you originally bought it for. So let's just say, for example, if you bought Apple stock at $200 and it rose to a price of $300, you would have an unrealized gain of $100 if you never sold. However, you would only realize the gain if you sold it, thus locking you in on the $100 profit. But by taxing unrealized gains, Vice President Harris would be taxing fictional profits that you don't technically have yet in your possession. Remember, the price of assets like stocks, precious metals, real estate, bonds, they don't always go up.
Yeah.
Sometimes they go down. So yes, you might have to pay capital gains taxes on assets you actually lose money on in a Kamala Harris
That
president.
makes no freaking sense.
So you spend money
Yeah.
on, what's it called?
The stock market.
Stock market, thank you.
Which
You make an
helps the
investment.
economy.
You make an
You're
investment.
investing
Your money.
which is helping the economy.
But the thing is, it could go the other way for you,
Right.
But
Yeah.
you're investing. It goes up, but you know how it
you
is.
don't sell.
You don't
You
want to
hold
sell
that
'cause
investment, yeah.
it might go higher, right?
Right.
You hold the investment, but because it goes up, they're gonna hit you with a tax.
With a tax.
that
It
you
could possibly
already
go
invested.
down, but it could possibly go down the next year. So now you pay
Yeah.
taxes on something that you lost money on.
You pay taxes on something that went up because
didn't
it went up,
but it's not real.
but
It didn't
you
exist.
didn't make money on it.
But that's why it's
Yeah.
called unrealized, because it's not real.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't become real until you sell it and
Yeah.
make the profit.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
Should be called thievery.
Yeah.
So it's
Presidency.
hypothetical.
Yeah. It's imaginary.
Hypothetical tax.
Yeah.
Taxing unrealized capital gains is an extreme departure from current tax policies, which only tax realized capital gains. It is important to note, however, for now, this tax proposal would only apply to families with a net worth above $100 million. Under the Biden-Harris tax proposal, families with this amount of wealth would owe up to 25% in taxes on unrealized capital gains.
So what do you think that's going to do for people that are in that tax bracket? Because that's their argument. It's like, oh, why are you worried about it? It's only for people that make $100 million. What do you think that's going to do? It's going to make them sell off all them assets before those gains come in, which is going to tank the stock market, and they're going to find other places to put their money so that they don't have to pay those taxes. That's all it's going to do.
Or take their business elsewhere.
And I saw someone break down that like the amount of money that's going to make the government on unrealized gains is not even enough to make a dent in the deficit at all. So it's like it's a net negative.
A deficit that y'all created.
Right, from printing all this money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
spending our money on stupid stuff.
It's
not
a net
on
negative idea to begin with.
Yeah.
Depending on the tax rates they are already paying, they will owe a 25% minimum tax that includes unrealized capital gains. Now, why are taxes on unrealized capital gains concerning? I know some of you out there are probably thinking, I love Kamala, and I don't care if she taxes unrealized capital gains because this will only apply to the ultra wealthy. If you fall into this category, I got some news for you. Regular income taxes also started out as applying to the ultra wealthy.
Yep.
But I'm guessing most of you watching this video currently are paying income taxes even if you're not ultra wealthy. When income taxes were first put into place in 1913, they originally only applied to the top 1% of Americans. Then, once the government got people used to that idea of income taxes, it started applying income taxes to the vast majority of workers in America, not just the top 1%. So if you think that taxing unrealized...
So it's like trickle down economy.
Yeah.
It's like almost the opposite.
It's the opposite.
Yeah.
It's every time you give the government ground, they're going to take a little bit more.
Yeah.
You give them power, they're not going to receive that power. They're going to take more. They're going to take more.
I could do it here. Okay, let's do it here. Let's do it here. The government is showing you they are bad managers.
Yes.
They are bad at these things. They are very bad at these things, right? Kamala is really bad at these things.
Yeah.
Biden showed you he's bad at these things. When you have government saying we're going to do more government, this is a problem. Or I'll say when you have politicians or people who are applying for these jobs right in front of you, and they're telling you we're going to do more government, it's never going to go well.
Yeah.
Because government is never good at managing this money.
Right.
The least amount of government that we have, it's easier for us to hold them accountable. The more it becomes almost like I don't even know what's going on, and then you start to just like disassociate from it.
Yeah.
Because you think like it's too much. Oh, I hate politics.
Yep.
How many people? I hate politics because it just becomes so overwhelming for a lot of people that they're just like,
I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
I got to go to work tomorrow.
I still got to work.
As one of our friends says.
Yeah.
All the time.
Capital gains will only ever apply to just the top 1%, you might need to think again. If they get approved for families with over 100 million in wealth, it could very easily be changed to families with over 1 million in wealth or 100,000 in wealth. You get the point. I also think that taxing unrealized gains sets a dangerous precedent. Under this policy, the government would force you to pay taxes on money that you
don't even
haven't made. If the government can force you to pay taxes on money you haven't made yet, where is the line for what is able to be taxed? Will it force you to pay excise taxes on cars you haven't bought? Will it force you to pay sales taxes on items you haven't purchased? Will they force you to pay property taxes on properties you don't own yet? Where is the line at?
Yeah.
Another concerning thing about this tax policy is that it does not appear to include a tax refund for unrealized
losses. Yeah.
My internet, my rules. Introducing My Home from Verizon.
Okay, Verizon.
I mean, I guess we can.
It seems only fair to me that if the government is going to tax unrealized capital gains, it should also refund unrealized capital losses. I mean, people who are ultra wealthy often view taxes on wealth, like this new tax that Harris is proposing, as an unfair punishment for being successful. When the wealthy feel that they are being punished for their success, they often flee to areas with better tax treatments. Many millionaires
100%.
and billionaires could simply leave the country.
And then all of their assets no longer belong to us.
Yep.
Let's see. Let's go to
Audi.
I want to go to the
tax
next
rate
one.
from 21% to 28%, which is almost double what Donald Trump is proposing. Now, if you are a business owner, you could expect to pay significantly more in corporate taxes if Kamala Harris is elected. And if the tax proposal goes through. Now, this is another controversial issue. A lot of people believe that raising corporate tax rates is a good idea because it forces successful corporations to contribute more to the federal government's tax revenue. Kamala Harris has been arguing that this will help to reduce our national deficit, which, if you are unaware, has gotten insanely out of control. Currently, the United States national debt is $35 trillion and counting. Again, the problem with raising taxes as a solution to our government's financial woes is that it destroys some of the incentive for people to create businesses in the first place. The less money that business owners get to keep, the less motivated many people will be to start businesses, to innovate, to create new jobs, and just to keep the economy going. I've said this so many times in other videos. Raising taxes is not the only way to fix the country's financial problems. We can also dramatically curb spending. There's more than one way to improve the deficit, but that's in another discussion for another day.
Let's go to the bottom line.
Okay. Kamala Harris wants to raise a lot of taxes, but she also wants to throw in some interesting tax breaks. Some of her tax hikes are not as extreme as those proposed by President Biden, but some of them are, such as the new 25% wealth tax, including taxing unrealized capital gains. If all of these policies...
You need to take proposal number 3 out of there, because she done stole that one from Trump. No taxes on tips.
Came law, millions of people, and especially high earners, would pay much higher tax rates. So if you love working harder and harder only to give more of your money to the government, then you might find Kamala's tax policies very appealing. If you don't, then at least you could potentially save some money when starting a new business if Kamala becomes president. Nice. Now, here's a question from a subscriber.
And it's very low.
Yeah.
Like in terms of what she's going to do for this
the opportunity economy.
Dude,
she was talking about.
It's almost like a spit.
Yeah.
It's bad.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and then there was another part, raising capital gains tax also. So unrealized and realized.
And realized gains.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Sad.
Lord help us.
And we have to pay attention to what this election is gonna, the shenanigans. You know, I saw this from the New York Times. Mom, pull this up. This headline: Harris or Trump? Once again, election results could take a while. More Americans are using mail-in ballots, which take longer to count than those cast in person. In several battleground states, a winner may not be apparent on November 5th. And they're saying it could take weeks before we know who won in those states.
Weeks.
So just be aware the shenanigans that will be at foot here. And then speaking of the president, Biden, this week he came out of the bunker for and there was a lot of controversy around this cabinet meeting. Take a look. There's a cabinet meeting going on. And what do you see? Who do you see sitting at the head of the table here?
Dr. Jill Biden.
Who do you see sitting in the place?
She talked about the fact that sometimes the White House, in her words, surprises you. And for somebody who has worked on women's health issues for her whole career, frankly, as a teacher, but also as the second lady and now as the first lady, she said one of the things that struck her the most was the inequities in medical research, funding for
Look where Biden is.
Medical research for women. So this is an important priority of hers.
So people are pointing out that, like, who is running this country? This has never happened before, where the wife of the president is sitting in on cabinet meetings.
But shouldn't that not surprise you? Everything is crazy, you know?
I mean,
Everything is crazy.
It doesn't surprise you when you see he forgot where he was again at this this event.
Who am I introducing next? Who's next?
Distinguished guests, the Prime Minister of the Republic of India.
So I want to thank you all for being here. And now, who am I introducing next?
That is sad, bro.
He totally forgot. Totally forgot who he's supposed to introduce.
You think that they'd be prepared for that?
I mean, I'm sure they told him.
Yeah, but telling him is not, bruh. You need to write it down in like red. Have somebody there just in case.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Well, Kamala's not too much better. Look at this little slip right here.
I've heard I would like another debate, so I'm hoping the former vice president will agree to that. But we have a lot more to discuss.
Did you hear what she said?
No.
Yes. She said, I want to have another debate, so I'm hoping that the former vice president would agree to that.
She's talking about Trump?
Yes. What is she saying? The former vice president?
I'm hoping the former vice president will agree to that.
This is what we have, guys.
You don't want to have a fair debate.
No, she won't agree to do it on Fox News.
No holds bar.
Yep.
Yeah,
just freestyle.
If they did it on IBC, it's fair that they do it on one of,
They're not going to do that.
I mean, I hope they do another one, and Trump actually has his stuff together this time. Like I don't
doesn't take the bait.
Stop taking the
Stay
bait.
on task.
I don't think he really had a plan.
No, he didn't. He just thought I can beat her with my eyes closed.
Yeah.
I'll go in. I'll kill her. It's over.
Like I don't know how much he really prepared.
I don't think he did.
He did.
Not like her. She was in debate sessions for a whole week.
Yeah.
So let's get into this third attempt on Trump's life. So this is technically what is considered the third assassination plot, but really the first.
Before.
So this is from Time right here. Pull this up, Mom. This is the article right here. So Iran, Trump, and the third assassination plot. So it says Asif Merchant was arrested on July 12th. Think about that. July 12th.
Mm-hmm.
That was the day before the first attempt with, what's his name? Crooks.
Mm-hmm.
He was arrested on July 12th. He had just loaded his luggage onto his ride to the airport, commencing a journey either to his wife and children in Iran or to a different wife and children in a native Pakistan. In weeks of secretly recorded conversations with federal informant, Merchant had confided that he had families in both countries. He also, according to an FBI affidavit, said that he had come to America to arrange the assassination of a political person. The identity of that person was not explicitly stated either by Merchant or by his handler. In Iran, Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, according to the leaked document that was posted online by U.S. Senator Charles Grassley on September 5th. After the Iowa Republicans said it was provided to him by a whistleblower. But along with other evidence, the documents also but confirmed that Donald Trump was the person Merchant was authorized to offer up to $1 million to kill. So they're saying that this guy was authorized to offer $1 million, up to $1 million for the assassination of Donald Trump. And this guy is an Iranian. In the leaked document, Merchant described remotely scouting a Trump rally, then sending a written report on event security, how many guards, how many body scanners back to Tehran, and secretly recorded meetings described by the FBI. After his arrest, Merchant games out the assassination with the informant. The plan he detailed involved a crowd, a stage demonstration, intended blah, 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 blah. So they go into how they planned it all out. So this dude was arrested by the FBI the day before, and they still let what happened on the next day happen.
Wow.
But
That is.
But don't they ever find out who's on top of all this? Like who's doing this?
Well, this is why there was rumblings about Iran being responsible for crooks. Remember that? So, people are speculating that maybe the next day they were trying to allow that to happen so that they could blame Iran for this, and that would justify. Can you imagine what it would justify if they could have did that? Like, they probably could have halted the election. They would have got people to agree to go to war.
Yep. More money for the,
the
industrial
complex.
Yep.
I always say, man, we don't know how much God keeps us from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many things that could happen that
Yeah.
get saved, and you'll never know because how would you know what didn't happen?
But I mean, dude, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Like that they are desperately trying to kill this guy.
They knew about it.
They knew
about Crooks being on the roof.
Yes.
Even before it was not the best of the best Secret Service there already.
Yeah.
And they knew it, but they still allowed him to go on stage.
Yep. And think about it. Even with this guy Ruth, how did he end up on a golf course? How did he know that Trump was going to be there? A last minute decision. He wasn't announced. He was there the night before, posted up.
It's inside, dude.
Waiting in the bushes for over 12 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. I saw DeSantis talking about it. He's familiar with that course. He's played it with Trump before. That is the only spot where it's kind of, I want to say implicated, but like it's close along the fence of the course, and that was the only place where he can be.
Yeah, he said he knew it was going to be there exactly when he heard about it. He said he knew that was the only place it was going to be. And then the DOJ published the letter written by Ruth after the assassination attempt. You know, he was officially charged with trying to assassinate Trump.
Yeah,
that just happened. But they published.
They published
a letter. Though. Yes,
with a bounty.
With a bounty. Yes.
So it's like inviting more.
Right.
I don't know. Like
it's very suspicious because how many times did they say we can't publish the manifesto of this shooter, this trans shooter, this shooter from this school because it would incite violence or it would encourage others.
Well, they said that about Crooks, right?
They said that about they say that all the time.
Yeah.
We can't post their manifesto because it could encourage others to do the same thing.
Yeah.
But you post this guy's letter who is offering up a bounty. Oh, I think it was like $150,000 or something like that to whoever would kill Trump.
Yeah.
That guy right there?
Yeah, that's the guy that was at the golf course. This is the guy that was at the golf course. This is the guy that, look at his hair. Look at his hair. This is the guy that was going back and forth to Ukraine with no money, living in Hawaii with no money, no job, criminal record.
Somebody's doing this, all of this stuff. You know that.
Weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah.
He was found guilty of.
But served no time, though.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, he's going back and forth to the Middle East. He's going to Afghanistan. He's going all over the place.
Yeah,
recruiting people for the Ukrainian army.
The kids would say, "It's sus."
Yeah, very sus. Yeah, so he was finally charged with attempted assassination of Trump at Florida golf course, as case is assigned to Judge Eileen Cannon. That's how CNN reported on it. Man charged with attempted. They do anything they can to like not give you the information when it goes against their narrative.
Yep.
Yeah, so
this is unprecedented.
Dude, so we're just finding out about the third attempt now, but that actually was the first attempt.
Yeah. And it should just like send all these alarms, yo. We got to really protect this guy.
And the only reason why we're finding out about it is because of a whistleblower.
Yeah.
Someone leaked that document.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's all sus. Even how they're treating RFK.
Mm-hmm.
Like his family.
Yeah.
His uncle and his dad got assassinated.
Yeah. But they're acting like they don't want to protect this guy.
Yeah, they deny him Secret Service.
Yep. Let's see. Oh, Stiz is on there. Stiz said that is how they get to you. You'll own nothing. I guess he's talking about the taxes. 57,000 new IRS agents. There aren't that many wealthy people in the U.S. for them to chase. He said his son got busted for child porn. That's true. That's true. Did you hear about that today?
Wait, whose son?
The dude from the golf course.
What?
The dude from the golf course. Yeah. Thanks, Stan, for reminding me of that. Yeah. He got arrested today for possession of child pornography.
Wow. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah. And then on top of that, I don't know if you knew about this, Stan. So we're talking about the media. We're talking about who controls the media. We're talking about the dissemination of information, trying to spin a narrative. So I saw this today. I could not believe it. The FCC has fast-tracked George Soros's bid to buy up 200 radio stations in 40 markets just weeks before the election.
Fast-tracked it.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. They have...
Wait. Does that mean why we saw Paramore on the iHeart radio stage reading from a prompter?
Could be. It says the stations reach more than 165 million Americans, and staff at the FCC are concerned that the move is politically motivated. You think?
Concerned about it.
The commission's 3 Democrats voted for the move, while the 2 Republicans voted against it. Under existing FCC rules, foreign company ownership of the U.S. radio stations is not supposed to exceed 25%. Because this is a foreign guy. This guy's not American. Soros took foreign investment to make his bid and then filed a request for the commission to make an exception to the usual review process. The approval process bypassed a national security review, which could have taken up to a year to complete. And this is an article from the New York Post. So they're allowing George Soros to buy up 200 radio stations, probably all in the biggest markets, 40 different markets. This is them kind of talking about it.
There's a transaction where a Soros-backed group would take ownership of over 200 radio stations across 40 different markets after the FCC originally indicating that transaction could be reviewed and approved at the bureau level without a commission vote. It's now become clear that is a decision before the full commission, and it's one that I would assume now or in the near future the commission would approve. I think what's interesting about it is that the FCC here is not following its normal process for reviewing a transaction. We have established over a number of years one way in which you can get approval from the FCC when you have in excess of 25% foreign ownership, which this transaction does. And it seems to me that the FCC is poised to create, for the first time, an entirely new shortcut.
Yeah, thank you. As you pointed out here and previously, these proceedings for transfer of ownership have been expedited. What exactly makes this case so deserving of an expedited proceeding so far, from what you could tell?
There is nothing about this transaction
that
is out of the ordinary. It's the type of thing that we see all the time, and the FCC has a process for this. The full commission itself has never signed off on a shortcut like this. What we usually do is we require people to file a petition with us. We bring in national security agencies. They can review the foreign ownership. It's probably no big deal here, but we review that foreign ownership, and then we vote. Here, they're trying to do something that's never been done before at the commission level.
Yeah, so like he said, what is the special case that and you nailed it.
Election. It's so obvious.
Election, everything. Donald Trump, the internet is too powerful. They don't want people to have their own voices.
Yeah.
They want to control everything you hear.
The wave of hope when that bullet hit him on the ear.
Yeah.
Rose back up. Boom. American flag. There's too much hope.
Yep.
We got to speed up. We got to program all these people.
Yes, this said, I saw that. The administration is off the rails. Dude, the stuff that they are jamming through.
Come October, who knows what's going to happen?
Thera says we have them, no bacteria. I guess she's talking about washcloths. Use the cloth.
Use the washcloth.
Stan sent that, actually.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even see that. When did he send it?
He sent it earlier because I remember I watched it.
Oh, okay. That's what's up, Stiz.
That's why I was like, Stiz, I don't know if you knew about this.
Yeah.
Wait, I thought somebody said
I was so busy earlier. Oh, other election shenanigans. Check this out. This was Tim Pool reported about this on his podcast.
February 2 weeks. Here's Missouri, February 17th of this year. 78,421 registration attempts without an ID. 23,253 of those attempts were from dead people.
That is crazy. Why?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And this is
man.
is all the swing states. They've been finding this.
Come on, man. Y'all better be paying attention.
Thousands and thousands of fake registrations.
That's how they did it last time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then they want to talk about January 6th.
Yep.
Voter fraud. Either trying conspiracies.
Yeah.
I don't know. We know people who had from the move state to state that had ballots from one state and then ballots for another state.
Yep. And speaking of January 6th, listen to this right here, because this is crazy. Tim Pool again talking about this on his thing, but this is crazy.
Donald Trump wins. They will move to disqualify him through Congress, invoke civil war conditions, and tell the Trump hordes that Donald Trump is disqualified and not allowed to be president.
So it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025 to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody and civil war conditions, all because the 9 justices, not all of them, but these justices who have not many cases to look at every year, not that much work to do, a huge staff, great protection, simply do not want to do their job and interpret what the great 14th Amendment means. And I'm glad that Sherilyn's creating her new center so we can bring that back to life, even as we're continuing to amend the Constitution, as Professor Hassan has invited us to do.
What a wild thing to say to a group of people so casually.
Yeah.
That we will need bodyguards for everyone, civil war conditions. What he is saying that if Donald Trump wins on January 6th, they must stop him from taking office.
That is just so evil.
It's crazy.
It's getting crazy.
Wow, it is crazy already.
Yeah. I mean, but these things are all it's all intertwined, just like the Diddy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's all intertwined. What I mean by that, just like the Diddy stuff.
You mean there's a whole network?
It's a web.
Yeah. At play here.
Mm-hmm. So it's not like a lot of times things are connected just by association, and then basically they already showed it, just like the Epstein stuff. Like they only got to get you on one thing, and then they got you.
Yep.
Right. Some little thing that you did that they got you on camera doing, or
then they can control you,
or even something they caught you in doing.
Right.
That might have been not that big, but you have a reputation. You don't want to. And they got you.
Yeah.
And there's so many of those people out there, in not just in entertainment, but I'm talking institutions, colleges, all these different colleges. And,
they compromise you, and then they use you as a tool.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so many people are afraid of all this stuff coming out. Right?
Yeah. Yep. So they'll do anything to save their little life that they have built up. Stan said, AKA interpret the Constitution how we want them to interpret it. Yeah, exactly. That's what they're saying about the Supreme Court. They're not doing their job. They're doing their job.
Again, like I said earlier, it's worldview. It's how you view things. And what is interpretation?
Mm-hmm.
Interpretation. I was talking about the difference between translation and interpretation.
Yep.
Interpretation is an explanation.
Yeah.
It shows you it's the meaning, right?
Mm-hmm.
It brings forth meaning.
Yeah.
In something, and you can pervert meaning.
Yep.
And we see how a lot of times languages become something that they weren't. Like the meanings shift.
Mm-hmm.
The meanings change with things. And this is what we're dealing with in this country.
Yep.
Right? The meanings, they're trying to change the meanings. And if truth doesn't stand up, if no one is integral and stands for the truth, then there's nothing that can get in the way of this.
Yeah. And speaking of the truth and the lies, someone made this compilation. I'm going to play this before we leave. This is the last thing. This is an entire video from going all the way back to 2017 when the media started just making up stories about Trump. And it's so crazy when you think about, like, because there's so many that we've forgotten. We've talked about these all through the years, but there's so many that we've forgotten.
The media cannot be trusted.
In 2018, NBC incorrectly reported that Trump stayed home at Christmas time, the first U.S. president since 2002 to skip visiting the troops. The news went global, but
Remember
it wasn't
that?
true.
Mm-hmm.
The media had jumped the gun. Trump and First Lady Melania left the White House Christmas Day to visit U.S. soldiers in Iraq. On Thanksgiving, Newsweek made a similar error, falsely reporting that Trump was spending the holiday golfing at Mar-a-Lago in Florida. But the reporter had fabricated the golf story. Trump flew to Afghanistan on Thanksgiving to again be with the troops, making Trump the only president in U.S. history to visit troops in a combat zone both on Thanksgiving and so close to Christmas, though the press never reported that. CNN claimed Nancy Sinatra was not happy her father's song was played at Trump's inauguration. But Nancy Sinatra responded, "That's not true. I never said that. Why do you lie, CNN?" Time
Never heard
falsely
that.
claimed Trump removed the bust statue of Martin
Remember
Luther
this
King
story?
from the Oval Office. TMZ reported Trump changed Black History Month to African American History Month, but Presidents Obama, Bush, and Clinton had all called it African American History Month. BBC, The Guardian, and others.
These are all things why people have such TDS now. Because these things, they just were layering so many things on top of each other.
Reported that Trump wasn't bothering to listen to a speech by Italy's prime minister.
Remember
since
this?
He wasn't wearing translation headphones. Turns out he was wearing a translation earpiece. Newsweek and others reported Poland's first lady refused to shake Trump's hand, but later had to admit she did. CNN edited Trump's remarks to make it seem as though he didn't realize Japan builds cars in the U.S., but the full statement made clear that he does.
You've been creating jobs for our country for a long, long time. Several Japanese automobile industry firms have been really doing a job.
CNN also edited a video to make it seem like
Remember
Trump
this story?
patiently dumped fish food in the water at Japan's palace. But he followed the lead of Japan's prime minister.
They always do.
Newsweek
Just
claimed that
trickery,
Ivanka Trump
man.
plagiarized one of her own speeches, which is impossible since plagiarizing is
How can you
stealing someone else's
plagiarize your
work.
own speech?
The UK Telegraph apologized for at least 8 mistakes in an article criticizing Melania Trump.
No one hears
New York
about the
Times,
apologies,
AP,
though.
CNN, and others excerpted a Trump comment as if he'd called all illegal immigrants animals.
These aren't people. These are animals.
Later corrections noted he'd been referring to members of the murderous MS-13 criminal gang.
That's what
The New
he's
York
always
Times
talked
Magazine
about.
and CNN shared a story showing children
Remember
illegally
this?
brought into the U.S. supposedly in cages. But the article and photos were actually from the Obama administration. Agence France Presse mistakenly reported that more than 100,000 children brought in by illegal immigrants were being held in detention. That was actually the total number in 2015 under Obama. Time and others showed a crying Honduran child to illustrate Trump separating illegal immigrant parents from children, but the child hadn't been separated from her parents in the U.S. MSNBC falsely claimed Trump banned the Red Cross from visiting the immigrant children. The Red Cross said that wasn't true. MSNBC also falsely claimed that Trump had talked about exterminating Latinos, but later corrected that and apologized. NBC News misidentified the focus of Trump's praise in a speech as Confederate General Robert E. Lee. Actually, Trump was talking about Union General Ulysses S. Grant.
And his name was Grant, General Grant.
And his name was Grant.
The Washington Post and others
A great
falsely
man.
reported that Trump supporting
Bro, and this goes on for another 2 minutes of examples.
They just lie about
But
it, man.
I just wanted to show that because when you see people that hate Trump, when you see people that say he was the worst, all he did
bring
was
up
make
a lot of this stuff.
This is all the stuff they remember or they bring up or they have in the back of their mind subconsciously for the boxes that they checked off of why he was terrible.
And this is the stuff we've been bringing up throughout the years. And people, oh, you just love Trump. No, we're just trying to show you the truth.
Yeah.
It's not about, like, there's things about Trump that annoy me.
Yeah, and there's things that he did terribly wrong that we called out when he did them. But the thing is, when you see the media completely lying and trying to frame him from the time he was running, framing everything a certain way.
They all do, not just the media. Our president. When he talks about him, and the debate, the vice president,
Totally lying.
Totally lying. When Snopes debunked the whole Charlottesville, he called the neo-Nazis very fine people.
Yeah.
You guys are blatantly lying.
Yep.
And yet you're trying to deceive the people that don't do any research.
Yeah.
And they're just emotionally, mad at this guy because he's a racist.
And those debates were the prime example of what we're talking about, because those mistakes and those lies, those retractions, apologies that people never see, they only seem to happen to go one direction.
Mm-hmm.
You don't ever see them having to come out and apologize for lying about Kamala or lying about Joe Biden or lying about Obama. Like, you never see that happen. All these stories where they just printed a headline that had no basis in fact, and then you wonder why he's calling them all fake news.
Yep.
Or the enemy of the people.
Fake news.
Like, for you to be able to just make up fake stories constantly, and then retract them later, no one sees that, no one cares about it. That is complete
damage.
Weaponization of our media.
Yep, they know it, and then they know it too.
Yeah,
we're just gonna, print it, and nobody's gonna, it's working.
Yeah,
nobody's gonna. All we have to do is just write something that nobody's gonna read.
Yep,
it's the epitome of selfishness.
Yeah,
like you're perverting how people see somebody on purpose for your own gain.
Yeah,
the Bible talks about it. Proverbs 19, a false witness will not go unpunished. He who breathes out lies will not escape. Another one, a false witness will not go unpunished. He who breathes out lies will perish. So these things, God does not
take lightly.
He doesn't take lightly.
Yeah.
You look at how even the thing with Jesus was, how he was condemned to death was through false witness, right? Somebody who took what he said and twisted it.
Yeah.
So these things, if they did it to Jesus, they're going to do it to people who are standing up for the truth. So when these things are happening, now again, I'm not making the correlation between Trump and Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm
saying that if they would do it to him, who do we expect them not to do it to?
Yeah.
But the difference is, we're talking about the media, who, it was illegal for the media to lie to the American public. That used to be illegal.
Yeah.
You know when that changed?
When?
Under Obama.
Wow.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, I forget exactly when, but he passed a bill where it made it legal for the media to lie to the public.
Wow.
Let me see if I can find it real quick.
I was gonna say, do you have proof, bro? You just saying stuff, just saying things over there. I did hear that though. I don't know exactly what the bill or whatever.
I think it's called the HR 5736 112 Congress 2012 to 2015 Smith-Mund Modernization Act amends the amends the United States Information and Education Exchange Act of 1948 to authorize the Secretary of State and Broadcasting Board of Governors to provide for the preparation and dissemination of information intended for foreign audiences abroad about the United States, including about its people, its history, and the federal government policies through press publications, radio, motion pictures, the internet, and other information media, including social media, and through information centers and instructors. Under current authority, is restricted to information dissemination abroad with limited domestic exceptions. It authorized films and other materials prepared for dissemination abroad. And this is from congress.gov. So it's a lot of legal jargon, but you guys can go through and read the bill, but this is the bill that allows it.
I pulled it up too, and I saw factcheck.org say Obama didn't authorize lying by the media.
What does it say?
It says
because it probably says technically.
It says a piece of legislation signed into law under Obama administration didn't give license to the media, quote unquote, to get away with lying, quote unquote, contrary to social media posts talking about you know how it gets into a frenzy. Have you ever wondered how the media gets away with lying? It's because on 12/29/2012, Barack Obama signed the NDAA bill, H.R. 4310, the one you were talking about.
That's a different one.
Is it a different one?
Yeah.
The Post reads, this authorized the use of propaganda within America, which had been illegal since 1948. Obama signed H.R. 4310, or the National Defense Authorization Act, for fiscal year 2013 in January of 2013, but nothing in that bill applies to what private media organizations in the U.S. are allowed or not allowed to report or publish. The independence is enshrined in the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. So in reality, one section of that massive bill lifted a decades-old ban on content produced by media organizations funded by government broadcasting board governors, now called the United States Agency for Global Media, from being distributed domestically.
So it allows a government agency to distribute media domestically. That's what it just said.
Yeah, but you know how fact checking.
But I mean,
but I can understand, like, they're trying to say it has to do with the First Amendment.
Yeah,
it's bringing back the power of the First Amendment in a way to the media. But see how these things are very subjective.
Yeah,
like they're very. You have to. It's kind of like
because the government doesn't have a First Amendment.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like what is hate speech.
Yeah.
Right. So.
And
like,
who defines hate speech?
You got to define that, right?
Yeah.
So you gotta define, like, anybody can say, "Oh, that's a lie," but now you have to prove it,
right?
And a lot of times, it's not easy, you know. So that's where it gets into that. Like, think about, "Oh, that's a lie."
Oops. Go ahead.
Think about even in terms of KKK.
Yeah.
Right. The KKK is spewing hate, quote unquote, but you got First Amendment rights.
Yeah.
So, what does hate mean? What they're spewing lies about who? Lies about black people.
Right.
Lies about Jews. But they're kind of allowed to.
Yeah.
And that's where you have to combat that, right?
Because it's freedom of speech and freedom of
the
press.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when the
But
government...
it's opinion.
Propaganda is something different than the press.
Yeah.
Propaganda is when they're pushing out the government's narrative to, put programming on the people.
So that's where... That's the gray area that they were talking about, the 1948... Right?
Yeah.
Was it 1948?
Yeah.
Where they were talking about the propaganda,
Yeah.
right? Because this probably became a problem.
Yeah.
And even with think about a couple years later, Eisenhower, he spoke about the whole
industrial complex.
Yeah, like there was probably propaganda and all that stuff, right? So how do you combat that? How do you deal with that? And there's probably ways that can become like, you know how when you're dealing with stuff sometimes and you bring it into the government, it becomes a law that can hurt you more than help you sometimes.
Yeah.
So there is
most of the time.
Yeah. So most of the time. So like even in terms of this whole racial theory, what's it called?
Critical race
theory. Thank you. That whole critical race theory in schools and what they were doing, but then they're coming up with laws against it.
Yeah.
But those laws against it are kind of like you can't just make a law for everything. You got to kind of raise up a people in a community that can combat these things through the town square of working these things out through truth. I think that's where we're falling, and I think that's what Obama was looking at to see, we're not at this moment. People are relying too much on media. People are relying too much on outer things. They're not really taking responsibility for themselves and really researching things, taking on things for themselves so that they can understand these things. They're just getting it from the outside. Yeah. And then it's funny. I've been talking about this a lot. I was talking about this with my kids, with my daughter, because she had this assignment about like home. What is a home? And I was talking to her about like learning, how learning starts in the house, right? And I was like, yeah, you can learn things from the outside, like you go to school, but foundationally it starts here, and then you have to, just like I was telling her, like when you hear something in school that doesn't make sense to you or doesn't line up with the stuff you learn at home, you say, Daddy, they were saying this, and this at school. So what you're doing is you're not going to just bring anything into the house. You're going to bring it to me, and I'm testing it, right? And you're filtering it through me because I'm the one that allows these things in, right? And you do that as you honor me. And I think we've lost that type of thing where we just hear information, and I call it unauthorized knowledge. Like we just hear something and we grab all these things and we think, oh, that makes sense. I'm gonna take that. Oh, that makes sense. I'm gonna take that. But a lot of these things are corrupt and they're not authorized, right? So we're taking in all these things and they're dirty. And it's like you putting stuff in your house that you got. Oh, I got this from here. I got this from here. And you don't know what's attached to it. Right. You don't know
where it comes from.
You don't know where it really comes from.
The intention of it was.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
So then you're wondering why you got all this craziness happening in your house. Yep. And the same things, if your kids don't respect you and they go out and they learn things and they don't know how to filter them through their parents, they just think they actually use them against their parents in their own house, right? Well, you don't know what you're talking about, Dad. I learned this, and this in school, and I learned this, and then when they go to college, it becomes even worse, right? So again, see how important the family is, right? And when you take that away, I'm saying all this because it always goes back to the family and each individual house, and how important it is to have that structure where it's the parents, they grow the kids. Yeah. They are the foundation for the kids mirror them, right? But if the parents aren't mirroring somebody, if they're just the end all to be all, right? Or if the end all to be all for them is the media and everything they're watching, right? We got a problem.
We're in trouble.
Are we trusting in men or are we trusting in God?
Right. Great point, man. Let's leave it there because that is the theme for the day.
Hold on, though. I just want to read from this article, factcheck. It says, editor's note. Factcheck.org is one of several organizations working with Facebook to debunk misinformation shared on social media.
So you're a part of the propaganda machine. You're bought by the feds to debunk the propaganda.
When you brought it, I was literally going through that in my head about the whole fact-checking thing.
Yo, hilarious, man.
All right, I just wanted to end on that funny note.
Yeah, and still say, yes, they use the same vocabulary, but not the same dictionary. Yes, sir. All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate y'all. Shout out to everybody who's been faithfully on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and Rumble. Just support what we do, guys. If you like these conversations, if you want us to continue doing this, please go to the Patreon, patreon.com/YoungLionTV. Sign up to become a member over there for as little as $3 a month. You can support the Pride, help the Pride grow, become a part of the Pride, and join us for what we do. Also, we have merch available on our website. at jatan.com/shop, where you can get all the different little things, the shirts, the hats, the towels, all that good stuff. And if you want to throw a little donation to the cause, hit us on the Cash App. It's $ Young Lion TV.
I just wanted to end it in this way.
Okay.
So it's been a year for you, Moon, being married.
Oh,
you and
yeah.
Jess. I just want to say,
yeah, man. Happy
congratulations. Happy anniversary.
I see you had to let the cat out the bag, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Was you a little nervous about that?
Nah.
Okay. Because everybody didn't know they had a pre-wedding to the wedding.
They didn't know. They thought, wait a minute, y'all just got married.
Yeah. So
but we would.
Congrats.
Yeah,
and,
congrats.
Happy anniversary.
You got through 1 year. And it's gonna be many more.
Did it feel easy breezy?
So easy breezy.
Nice.
I mean, we had a few arguments, but you know.
Hey man, the best.
But it was
the best times. Very best times are when you can work through hard things.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's when you end up closer. You grow closer because of those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you know, we're all waiting for a little baby, little chankster. So
pray for us.
Little changy chang.
Little changy chang.
Every day I pray for you and John and Amber and Jessica.
And that's it?
No,
I'm joking about all right.
Not praying for you guys.
Yeah, that ship has sailed.
Sailing.
But no, thank you guys for watching. We appreciate you. Great episode, guys. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.
Young Lion go live, yeah. Young Lion, you rich, yeah.